All right, bro, you ready?
Yeah, you know
Ready,
me.
ready, always ready. Hello,
Ready to. Hi.
welcome, hello, welcome to everyone, welcome to all to another episode of the HenricoM Just Chatting slash podcast slash whatever the fuck this is. And today we have none other than the man, the myth, the legend, who actually deserves quite a fucking introduction, by the way. It's our boy Gary, also known as MisteM, right?
Yeah.
Pure Gary. Thank you very much, man, for your time and tuning into the stream. I want to welcome everyone in the Twitch chat. As you guys know, we do try and keep this inclusive for everyone on the on Twitch. If you have any questions, if you have anything, please remember to talk along in the Twitch chat, and we'll get to the questions. We might not answer it immediately, but we'll get to them. Gary, welcome, dude. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks. All right. Great talk. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right,
Cheers,
dude.
guys.
See you. Peace out, homie. I love the background. So you are in Canada now.
Yes, sir.
That's
I'm
wild.
here.
From Mexico to
Can we
Canada.
Can we get a weather check? Let's see what the degrees are. Currently, 2 degrees.
Damn. And we're out here. Let me tell you what is here. 27. 27 at 7 p.m. and it's 27 degrees. Peak
Rather
summer.
you than me.
Bro, I'm hating it, dude. I'm a big dude as well, so that helps. But, dude, it is so fucking warm. It is so it's like that annoying warm, you know. Like it's not even it's not like it's just warm and then you know you get warm and you put on a fan or whatever. It's like everything is fucking sticky. So you go shower, and then the moment you're out of the shower, you're basically sweating again already. It's horrible.
Yeah.
The interesting,
When
I
you go for a
remember.
shower, how hot do you make the shower when you go shower? Like,
I do cold
boiling
showers.
hot or
No, I'm a
you
cold
do
shower
cold
person.
showers?
I'm a cold person. Not
Okay,
ice
okay,
cold.
okay.
I will not. I'm not the person that I do not do cold showers. But it is more cold than warm. A lot more cold.
Mm-hmm.
I like to get out of the shower and shiver. Essentially, it's not full cold. I'm not there yet. I know some people do full cold showers. I'm not quite there yet. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe in the future.
I go boiling hot when I start, and then I end with a cold shower.
So you
So
just
it's like,
why?
yeah, I don't know. Hot wakes me up more than cold, and then I just end like with cold shower.
Interesting. I would feel like it's completely different. A hot shower
Yeah.
makes me want to go to bed, dude. It makes me want to go sleep even more.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Maybe it's the
I-
agonizing pain of the heat burning your skin.
If I go for a bath and I tell my teammates, guys, feel the water, they just sit there and like their fingers burn.
What's wrong?
You know, I'm just getting in there. I don't know.
I'm like, we have to get you some candles and
Hey.
a bath bomb, dude. I feel like you deserve that.
When I was staying with Swisher and his girlfriend gave me a bath bomb, and oh my gosh, I've never felt more relaxed in my life. The whole bath was green, bro.
Damn.
That thing was insane.
I haven't tried a bath bomb yet, but maybe we'll get there one day. Maybe we'll
Trust
get there
me,
one day.
it's insane. It's insane.
We should do a hot tub stream. I agree. See Scorpion in the chat saying hot tub stream with Gary. We'll set it up. We'll set it up someday. Hot tub stream when he
100%.
comes back to South Africa one day. So
Regarding Twisty, us like moving to Canada.
yeah, I was about to ask you. Literally, like, what is it, like a month and a half ago? Me, you, we were all chilling on Discord, and I remember you were looking at, you were like showing us like place in Canada and what it costs and everything. And I think everyone else, including me, we were just like, oh, he's just browsing. Like maybe it's a future career choice, or maybe something that can happen in the future. And now, 2 months later, you guys are in Canada. How did that all happen? What was the whole spiel there?
So the whole thing was I was like completely over Mexico because I wasn't able to really go out of the house because it was kind of similar to South Africa with like crime and things like that. So obviously when I was in Mexico, I did deal with like a crime situation with my coach. Him and I were like playing basketball and we were like held at gunpoint and we got like mugged and stuff.
Holy
And
shit.
that was like a point at which like I used to, when Mango was still in the team, him and I were going for walks like around the neighborhood at like 2, 3 in the morning. And like at that time I felt completely safe. I didn't feel like I had to deal with anything, even though like it was risky and stuff. Like we kind of knew the neighborhood. And when Spray and I went and played basketball, it was literally at like 6 at night, which is like the sun was setting at like 10. So it was
So still broad daylight,
as if it
essentially.
was, yeah. So the fact that happened was okay. Like, whoa, this is like the first time I've encountered this in my entire life. I'm also in a place where like I'm not used to anything, and when I'm getting like held at gunpoint. The thing is, they're speaking Spanish to me, so I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, so you can't
I can,
comply.
yeah, so I can say the wrong thing, and they just like, okay, like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy, and just shoot me.
Holy
So that was like a
shit,
first
dude.
wake up call, and I was like doing a lot of running and stuff like that because that was the type of workouts I was doing at that time. So I literally would wake up and then just stay in the house. The only thing that I would do is we had like this little back courtyard area, which was just like a concrete area, which was not fun to be around, but that was the best thing I could do to get sun. And I was like, you
Damn.
know what? Like mentally, like if anyone read like my twit longer, I was like mentally like burnt out and shit like that. And the fact that I couldn't even just go outside to feel safe was, I was like, okay, I need to do something. So I messaged Fady at the time, and I was like, okay, let's um, go to Canada together. Like, let's buy an apartment together, and we can like share it. And I started doing research on different areas. I had family in Canada and stuff like that. So um, instead of going home for Christmas and stuff, I decided to come to Canada from the 19th until the 7th. To look at apartments, stay with family, meet people and stuff like that. And then while we were here in Canada, ESL was like, well, hey, we need to change the dates, and you guys are now playing on, the 18th of January. So I was like, okay, well, there's no point in me going home now because I'm only going to have like a week with my family.
You have to come back anyway.
So I was like, okay, I'll just stay in Canada. So
So you haven't even been back to your family for more than a year now?
no. Yeah, last time I saw my family was in July.
Okay,
so I was
almost
July
basically.
last year.
Holy
Yeah,
crap.
so I was pretty much cancelled my flight to South Africa. I bought like a business class ticket to South Africa as well, my long flight, and I couldn't get a refund on that because it's like a special ticket. I bought it at the right time. It cost like 25,000 rand, whereas like normal business class is like 100,000.
Yeah, it's
So I
super
got like
expensive.
so I got a really good deal. And then when I cancelled all my flights back to South Africa, I couldn't get a refund, so that was like not good. And then while we were here, like we were chatting to Flea, and we were saying, okay, let's go to Seattle and use like the Evil Geniuses or like a Liquid bootcamp facility because we no longer had the house in Mexico
No.
because we planned to move to Canada as a team. So there was like a week in which we're going back and forth, and then it was just at a point where we're like, okay, let's rather just fly Bowden to Canada because Fady had like the surgery and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that came out to a lot cheaper, and then literally on the day, Flea bought us new PCs. He bought us like Bowden's flights. He bought us this like Airbnb that we're staying at. So everything just happened within a day that we were here. And for me, I just had to take like a $20 ferry to get here, so everything was like super smooth.
Damn, so
And
Flea actually came in clutch.
yeah, so I feel sorry for his bank card, but I mean,
Hey, you're running an esports org, dude. That's the thing's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean now I'm just happy like I can just walk outside. Obviously the weather's I'm a guy that enjoys like cold weather. I hate like the heat, like
Thank
playing
you.
and stuff. So
This is perfect for
like
you.
yeah, so as I said, like I'm going outside, it's like 2 degrees, but when I'm coming inside, it's like 24 degrees with the heater on. And the thing is, like, it's central heating, so it's not like just a heater blowing on you the entire time. It's just like a warm house.
So you can go. You can now go walk around. I see you've been posting a lot on your Instagram, doing hikes and stuff.
Yep.
It looks pretty. It looks beautiful. It looks like a movie.
Yep,
To be honest. It looks really nice.
Yeah, we in like Victoria, which is well known for like its, I guess, mountains and hiking and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a great move from Mexico to Canada, dude. That's pretty insane. But let's back it up a bit. Let's go to full on backtrack mode here, because you were in Mexico since 2021, 22, beginning. I can't remember. When did you go to? When did you originally?
Yeah,
when did the NA thing? When did the whole ATK to NA thing happen? Because I remember it started with you, Josh, or Blaze. There's quite a few of you guys.
August of 2020.
August of 2020. Okay, so it's been a while already.
It was August of 2021. Yeah.
Okay, so last year essentially.
23 now.
How does that conversation even start? Like, were you the one to instigate it? Did you guys as a team? Did Flea come to you guys? How do you even make that decision? Because in my mind, if you have an esports org, if you run an esports org, if you have a team that you would like to get international, surely taking them overseas is not the cheapest thing. It's not the cheapest thing. So I would love to know like the whole process of how do you get to that conversation? What is the steps? Like how did you get there? How did you guys get there?
I obviously was in at the time like Energy and like Sinister 5 at that time.
Yeah.
And obviously I saw, Black Poison, Domster, Fady, that ATK team get signed, and ATK kind of came out of nowhere for CSGO. And then they got bought by Cloud9, so ATK had a free opportunity, and I knew that in order for me to get overseas, I either needed to get into ATK or I needed to go overseas myself.
Yeah.
And making it with a team is a lot better than making it by yourself. So I was actually at the mall, and I had Flea's number because I tried to get my brother into ATK for like Apex Legends, and I was speaking to Flea and stuff like that. And then pretty much he was happy to get my brother on board, so my brother joined ATK for Apex, along with like 2 other people. And then about 2 weeks later, I get a message from Flea on WhatsApp, and he's like, hey, a lot of people have been speaking to you, like JT's mentioned you a lot, that you're like the next upcoming person in South Africa. I'm looking at building a team. You can pick whoever you want, and we'll go from there. I want to send this team overseas. So I had free range. It was literally just me. I had free range of picking whoever I wanted from any team. So I sent messages out to Blaze and Flexi. Those were the 2 people that I enjoyed playing with at the time. And then after that, I wanted Fady, but he was super determined to go overseas by himself and go stream FPL and stay with his uncle. So I had to kind of fight for him quite a lot. And I guess this is kind of one of the positives about COVID, is that he couldn't go overseas because of COVID. So he couldn't get into the US. So he was just kind of in a situation where he was like, okay, well, I'm either just not going to go overseas, or I'm going to come and play with you guys and earn a salary. So obviously he joined us. And then at the time we had like Flea was going to send us to Dubai because we had Spray. He had connections to send us to Dubai to go and play the Asia or the Middle Eastern major qualifier.
Is that when you guys did the boot camp in Dubai, right? There was like a week
in Dubai,
boot camp. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so that was beginning of 2020, and we had like a whole facility, but we needed a 5th, and we were not too keen on any other South African. So I asked Domster, and he was in like UK at the moment, so he wasn't like keen to come back or anything. So at that time we messaged Tens, and he was on board. And we played with Tens and stuff like that, and it was obviously hard like practicing with him because he had 300 ping. So we just did theory stuff.
Yeah, that would be frustrating.
Yeah. So moving on, we just like went through the Middle Eastern qualifying. Like it's so hard for those teams to actually get somewhere. So how it works is you have a Dubai server and you have a Europe server. So from Dubai to Europe, you get 180 ping, and then from Europe to Dubai, you get like 200 ping. So how they would do it is that Dubai teams would have to compete with some European teams that wanted to play in the Middle Eastern qualifier because they could. So if you're playing like a best of 3, you'll play your map on their server. So you'll play with 180 ping and they'll play with 20 ping. What? Then on their map, you'll play with 20 ping and they'll play with 200 ping. And then 3rd map, you'll do a knife round. Whoever wins knife round, you would play on your server first. So you'll play on low ping, and they will play on high ping.
What?
And then at half time, you switch. So you'll have high ping, they have low ping.
What the fuck is that? So how do you mentally like get into that, dude? That must be that would frustrate, dude. That I'm frustrated just thinking about that because I know whenever I play MM with you, it's like 300 ping, or you play MM with me, you play on 300 ping. But for a qualifier into like you're qualifying to compete arguably in one of the biggest tournaments of your life at that point, and wow, and that's how you, and there was no way around it. It's just like deal with it.
Yeah, no, those teams were not good. Like we knew we could beat them. Like we're playing like Dubai teams, which is a team that the only way that you play scrims is either versus other Dubai teams, kind of similar to South Africa. There's only a handful of them, or you can play Indian teams, like teams that are in India.
Yeah.
Those are like the only teams that you can play. Whereas like we
Wow.
had more exposure to, more facilities and playing better teams. So we knew we could win. It's literally just a ping. Like, I mean, we had 10s, and this guy's just sitting in aimbots for,
Yeah.
not even kidding, like 3 hours. He just sits there shooting bots.
I mean, he's cracked. I mean, tens is. I mean, he's huge in know, and whatever he's doing now. He's doing great. Yeah, that's the guy. I was about to say, Exile. Did you ever play against Forsaken, dude? Did you ever play against Optic Forsaken?
Nah.
Wow.
He was before my time of going overseas.
So you get there. Now you have to play these big ass qualifiers on this ping. Did you guys go through? I'm sorry, I'm not too sure about it. Did you guys go through? What happened?
We actually lost to one of the teams. Like, we were winning like 14-3, and then we switched to 180 ping, and they beat us like 16-14. Just because we had like 180 ping, like we couldn't do anything.
Bro,
we were winning like 14-3.
This is such a good segue into another question I have about like the mental, but I want you to continue the story because this is mind-boggling to me. I cannot believe that is something that's happening in like the top tier Counter-Strike.
Yeah. So it's really hard for like those Middle Eastern teams. Like, I feel bad for them. Like, we even went and played like a LAN there, like a small little LAN with all these Dubai teams. We won that, but it was just super fun just being around a different community. Like, they welcomed us and stuff, and it was just great. Like, I remember the place that we stayed at, they had like amazing food. It was like a whole facility, and we had people come and like give us food and stuff like that, and they had like this little foosball. I have like a little bit of an ego, so I'm like, oh, let me go and fuck these guys in foosball real quick. I got destroyed. I played one of the waiters, and this guy was like passing the ball to the other, little stick figure thing and flipping hitting it against the wall, and I'm like, bro, you gotta teach me this, man. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do anything with 180 ping. Let me go and play some foosball. So this guy was just teaching me foosball, and then that was like great.
Well, I got
fucking owned, man.
You got some new skills there, though. So Dubai happens, and then what happens after that? How does that correlate into Mexico?
So we obviously wanted Tense in the team, but he hated CS with a passion. I had lots of
really?
Yeah, he was. There was stuff in Cloud9 that I think kind of made him not enjoy it. Kind of like just the team environment, but also because it was the Krieg meta at the time. Okay. And that was just like not great at all. So he was like, I'm gonna wait for Valorant to come out, and he was really determined for Valorant. He was always on like the Reddit posts about it. He was always speaking about it, and him and I shared like a bet and stuff, and I would have like conversations with him like, hey man, like for me, I'm always someone that wants to inspire someone or just try and like get them to come on board with me. Because I kind of feel like I give hope to that person. But he was just so mentally drawn to Valorant that I was lost at sea type thing to try and bring him back. There's no way he's getting back on the boat. Yeah. Oh. So we went back to South Africa, and we were like, hey, if you want to like come to South Africa and play with us, because Warren wanted us to be the best team in South Africa at the time before he sent us overseas. We needed something to prove.
Okay.
So we were like, okay, we need to find a new player. And then we were like hooked on 2 Australian guys that we were messaging. Warren was going to fly them over. We were going to kick Flexi just because like we weren't happy with his communication and stuff like that. And we obviously needed to fill Ten's spot. So we kept Flexi because, again, there was no one that we wanted. And he was still doing fine. And we played with like Magma, and then we played with like other different subs like Dice, and trying to remember back, like we were just playing with like different people because we wanted these Australian guys.
Yeah, until you can find someone.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, like COVID's not going to be around for that much longer. Like, it was literally the beginning. So we were like, okay, we're just going to move on. And the Australian guys obviously had their lockdown and stuff. South Africa was getting its lockdown, so we're like, okay, well, now we can't do anything.
Yeah.
So then we picked up, we were trying to get ADM and Massacre at the time, but they were in Goliath, and Adam and Massacre decided to stay with Goliath because they felt like they had something going, and I respect them for not joining us. Like they were going to earn more, they were going to be in a better like organization in terms of like they could send us overseas, better facilities and stuff like that.
No.
But they believed in their team, and full respect to that. So we were like, okay, well, who now? So there was one person that I always wanted in a team because I've heard good things about him, and also when I met him, and that was Slowy, just because of his personality. Building a team for me is not
Love
necessarily
Slowy.
about skill. Yeah, it's not about skill, it's more about synergy and energy with one another. I don't really base it off of like, okay, this guy's fucking insane, let's get him, because he could be insane, but his attitude could be terrible, and that ruins a team environment for me.
I think
So
I think that
Slowy
can
was,
I think that can ruin the environment for a lot of people though, because I mean,
yeah.
if you have some cocky headshotter, but then you maybe whiff a shot or something, and then he starts a fight, quote unquote, or whatever, that can ruin a whole game, like a whole game or a whole team's flow. So I can completely get that.
Yeah, so I knew Slowy was really like a fun guy to be around because I've obviously met him at like different rages and Comic Cons and stuff. So I was like, okay, let's get him. So I messaged him on Steam, instantly came to tears. He was down, and I was like, okay. The only other one that I could think of, because I just left Sinister 5, was Diver as like a rifler. That's all we needed. So I just asked Aaron. I was like, okay, who do we get as a rifler? And he mentioned Daru, and I never played with him. I never really knew of him that much. And then we picked him up, and we just became like this insane unit instantly off the bat. I remember we had like, I don't know what it was. I can't even remember the name, but it was like some tournament from India that came to us, like Africa Masters or something like that. Nodwin, I think it's called.
Okay.
And we played that, and we were playing Goliath. And I remember they picked Nuke, and we didn't even practice Nuke yet. And Aaron's like, "Don't worry, I got you. I've anti-stratted them before." And he just started calling rush ramp, rush A. Okay, you go do this, you go do that. And he called that game, and we like beat them 16-14 or something, and we didn't even play the map. So I
You've
was
never
like,
tried
"This
it.
is
Wow.
good."
That's good. Good
And then
synergy.
yeah. So then we practiced Nuke because we thought they're gonna pick it again, and then they picked Overpass, a map that we haven't played again. So again, Aaron's like, "Don't worry, I got you." So he started anti-shredding again, and he was calling again, and then we won Overpass again. And then we practiced Overpass, and then they picked Vertigo, and they just kept going through the different maps until they couldn't do anything, and then we managed to play the entire map pool. And then after that, we obviously wanted to go overseas. And then Doru couldn't go overseas for personal reasons. So then I was like, okay, we're fucking picking up Mango. So that we literally messaged Mango. We were like, we want you. And we were like, okay, if we don't pick up Mango, who the heck are we picking up? We were
Okay.
so set on this guy. So we picked up Mango. And then again, same thing. We didn't really lose to any teams. We were still practicing, doing our thing. And then going overseas, there was a lot of conversation. There was a lot of like, okay, we should go to Europe because there were certain places we could get into. We could go into certain places in North America. And there was a lot of conversation with Warren. And then we came across Mexico, and Warren was just like, okay, we're going to Mexico. And we got an invite to ESL Advanced, which is the division just before Premier. And that was like a spot that we couldn't give up. So we pushed really hard to get overseas before a certain date when the tournament started. And then, yeah, we pretty much went overseas. Warren booked like a hotel. Hotel was way too expensive at the time. I think it cost Warren like 200K, 200,000 Rand a month. And
Yeah,
that
you
was
guys had
okay.
like you guys were literally living inside of a hotel with like
Yeah.
an area where you guys can like play all the time, and it was, I remember you guys posting on Insta or on Twitter and everything about it. But yeah, living in a hotel every single day, that must have been quite a pretty penny.
Yeah, so living in the hotel, beds were amazing. Still to this day, the best bed that I've been in. Like the room is just like full on cold. We had not house cleaning, like room service, coming in, cleaning everything. And there was like a gym there, and we had free breakfast buffet. So literally we were chilling, but it was just, again, like mentally straining. You didn't really have privacy. Like once you're done with like a long 9-10 hour prac, you're going and sharing a room with someone, or if you want to go, you're surrounded by all these other people that are checking into the hotel, and you never really had time to yourself. So we were like, okay, let's find a house. So we messaged Pain Gaming, which is like a Brazilian team. They were living in Mexico as well.
Yeah.
And they gave us their contact. So we got a house literally about 5-minute walking from them. and then that's how we got into the house and stuff like that. And then we just got desks and chairs from other connections that we had, and yeah, we just set up in that house, and that's where I was for like a year and a half or so.
Pretty much just stuck in those rooms. And would you say obviously the move overseas was a lot better than what I think the South African scene could have offered you? Because I don't really think and this is coming from me. You can disagree with me if you want, but I don't think you would have made it as far in Counter-Strike as you did if you stayed in South Africa. Because I feel like South Africa is not getting the opportunities yet that it deserves, and
Yep.
I think ATK is now more an international team compared to a South African team.
Yeah, I would.
Well, not international,
They-
maybe NA.
Yeah, I don't really know how to explain it, but like being overseas, it seems super easy from the outside, you know, just sitting playing games all day. But trust me, it is one of the hardest jobs that I don't think it gets enough credit to. You know, if people want to read what I went through, like mentally, I put a Twitlonger out because I felt that people needed to realize that it's not just sitting and playing games. Like there are some people that can do that, but especially for me, like I'm a family guy, I'm a person that enjoys not just sitting on my PC all day. Like I'm a heavy grinder. When
Yeah.
I was like full on grinding, like to give you an idea, I was going to bed at 4 in the morning, waking up 11:30. I was doing my workout, then I was doing 8 hours of practice, and I was doing 2 hours of DM, and I was doing quote unquote like 1,500 kills in DM, 5,000 aimbots, and then I'm still doing demos for the team, and then I'm still streaming and playing Face It afterwards.
Yeah.
So
you were
that was
already
like
on
my
it.
full on that was like my full on grind. And then like the only way that I can speak to my family is over like a FaceTime or something like that. And then obviously as time went on, like I lost Mango, I lost Blaze. These are people that I was comfortable with, and at that time we had to make roster changes. And roster changes for like the first period that I was here, we were getting somewhere, and then roster change would happen. Then we were getting somewhere, and roster change would happen. And I think that's like the only problem when it comes down to like a South African organization to a North American organization is like for a South African organization to pay $6,000, that's a shit ton of money for Warren. That's like 90,000 rand a month,
Yeah.
compared to if a American organization wants to pick you up $6,000 is like nothing, especially if they're earning $1 million a month.
Yeah.
So $6,000 is like pennies to them, but that's like flipping gold to Warren.
So that
So-
must be so it must have been quite difficult to, well, not quite difficult, but I mean it must have been quite a change for Warren as well, especially if since you guys started picking up NA players or more international players. The salaries are a lot different.
Yeah, for sure. Like what I was earning in South Africa compared to now is a massive, massive difference. So it definitely changes a lot, and obviously we deserve it with all the hard work that we're putting in. We should be getting like bonuses and stuff like that. So good for ATK that like it's going that way, and it's obviously. Even now when we played this tournament, like I just realized that I'm the only South African left, and I'm not more like proud to be where I am because I'm literally, other than JT, I guess you can call him South African, but he's, you know, been in North America so much, he pretty much lives overseas,
Yeah.
like similar to me. I feel like I'm still like fresh on the block type thing, so I'm still kind of South African.
You're still learning.
So, yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm not happier
you're
to.
fairly one of the only. You're fairly, or it's fairly certain to say that you're one of the only South Africans aside from JT that's that side now, or playing international Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I think just advice for like anyone that wants to go overseas, it's not about necessarily skill or anything like that. Like getting to where I got it was purely off connections. Like a lot of people think that they need to be face at level 10, they need to be global elite, they need to be having 20,000 hours in the game. But if you just have like the right connections, you can like get overseas. Like for example, like I wouldn't be here if I didn't have the connection with Warren.
No.
Like if he didn't message me, I would probably still be in South Africa. Or even now, like I have a lot of like connections with like the tier 1 pros, so that I can always just be around them. If I need to find a team, they could retweet my tweet, they can message people for me, things like that. So it's always good to just have those connections to message people and stuff like that. And then it's once you're here, it's a mental game. It's you could see there's some people that couldn't do it, like even in my South African team, they couldn't do it. So it's literally a mental game at this point. You need to realize that you're away from family, you're traveling all the time, and you literally just sitting playing games. You have to build like your own lifestyle at that point.
Yeah, I think it's not as simple as like maybe a Cape Town team going to compete in Joburg or something for a month. It's not a simple flight home. This is a day's traveling back home. And like you said, the only communication you have with your family is maybe a FaceTime, WhatsApp, or whatever the hell. And I have to agree with you. I'm not gonna say I can relate, but as a streamer and stuff as well, you have to put so many things aside. You have to put so many things aside that you maybe want to do, like for example, go and spend time with your family or maybe friends. But then you're like, I can't. I have to grind. Like I have to quote unquote sit and play games all day. But it's your job now. This is your focus, and this is what you want to achieve. And I read your tweet longer, and I did see that you definitely had a lot of mental battles that you had to overcome. And the fact that you did that is actually. You should be proud of that, and you should own up to that. I really, or not own up to that. I think you should really be proud of yourself for being able to speak about it so publicly, because we've had a few conversations here and there, especially off stream, and in more in our private times. We had a few conversations, and I have to say, from the first time that I knew about you or I learned about you, compared to like the first time talking to you, it's two different people that I feel like I've met. Because obviously I always heard about misteM, the kid that's cracked. You know, that's what I heard. That's this child that's just destroying kids. And older men, and then I got to talk to you, and I actually realized that there's much more behind the scenes. You know, you have a very, very positive outlook on everything, and I commend you for that, because I'm personally much more nihilistic. I look at things in a much different way to you, but I think that's one of the cool things about being human, is we're all different in our way. And I would love to, if you want to get into that a little bit, with regards to your rise to fame. misteM, South Africa's biggest cheater. Every Facebook hack watch group, oh, that misteM kid was in my matchmaking game. I had my and my vrienden doodgeskiet. How did you fight? How did you, as this young, I mean, how old are you? 15? 16?
Then yeah.
You were 15, 16 years old, and you had basically the whole South African pro scene, which is like 4 people, by the way, we're not a lot. Everyone accusing him of cheating. Or accusing you of cheating. And this is how I learned about you. I started playing Counter-Strike CSGO in 2014, personally. I started playing, and I remember it was 2016 or something, and one of my friends, I remember we were on this WhatsApp group, they sent the link on the WhatsApp group of like, oh, hack watch misteM, and I was like, I saw your name, I was like, oh, this kid's cheating, whatever, I didn't really care. And then you pretty much just popped up everywhere for me, be it on Twitter or whatever the hell. So if you want to like run me down memory lane there, dude, what happened? How did you fight through it? I mean, obviously you fought through it by showing people that you're just fucking better. But being 15, 16 years old, and I'm sorry for saying this, but it's unfortunately the reality we live in, you're easy to pick on because you're the kid, right? And you have all these older people, all these older guys who, you know, have been playing the scene for so long. And here comes this young kid and he's destroying them. And what else do we do but call cheats?
Yeah, I think it was definitely hard. I kind of always refer to like a bit of like cyberbullying. A lot of people that, I guess it's more like online, but I kind of referred it to as if like I was at a school and I was just getting bullied at school. It's kind of like the same pathway for me. In terms of like mentality, I have always been close with my family, so it was very easy for me to not really get affected by it. I obviously would get called cheater. Like I remember I was playing like this was a very long time ago, so like it's literally just a story. It's not who the person is, but I remember playing like a 10-man, which is like just 10 of the top guys get together and you have 2 captains and they pick. And I remember I was really good friends with JT at the time when he was like still in Flipside, and he said he's not going to play any 10-mans if I can't play, because some people didn't want to play with me because I never played at a LAN. And what JT was like, I'm not going to play a 10-man. And I remember JT was like a captain one time, and instead of picking like, I don't know, the people that were in there were like Convict, Zero Chance, Delani, or Lighters, Gold, Black Poison, Domster. It was like all of like the top guys, all the guys that I looked up to. And I remember JT, instead of picking any of those guys, he just says, yeah, I'll pick misteM. First time. Just out of all of those guys, I was like, okay, damn, alright. Now we're getting somewhere.
What a homie.
And I remember, And I remember it was like my first 10 men, and we were playing Overpass, and the score was 15-13, and I was already dropping 30 kills. And I say to Zero Chance, flash me out monster. So there's a monster smoke, and he flashes me out monster, and Lighters is sitting by the barrel, and I kill him. And before the game ends, he just left the game, and he's like, I can't play with this fucking cheater. And he just like left, and I was like, okay, damn, like now it's getting a bit more serious. And that was just like a little story that like I'm trying to prove myself, and I was 15 at the time, and I just didn't really care about it. Like I had my dad is like super positive. That's where I get my mentality from, and he's just like in a different way. He's just like fuck these kids. Like you do what you need to do. You need to prove everyone wrong, and you just do whatever you need to do, type thing. And I just did that. He said don't. My mom always told me like jealousy is a silent killer. So all of these people that I was like playing against and stuff like that, they are just unhappy because some guy just came into their home and started tearing shit up. Like you're not going to be happy if I come into your home and I just start throwing pillars and shit all over your floor. That's what I was doing to them. I just came in and I started flipping destroying them. So getting into my first team, that was super hard because not a lot of people wanted to give me a chance. They said, oh, you need to play LAN, you need to play LAN. And I was like, I'm not going to go and play a LAN with some dog shit team. I want to make sure that I join the best of the best that I can.
Yeah, what's
So
the fun of that?
I became really good friends with Zero Chance. Like afterwards, he became my mentor for a very long time. And he, I sent him a message jokingly, like after like a pug, and I was like, hey man, can I join Flipside? LOL, XD, Keck Dub. He's like, let me trial you first. I was like, oh shit, I actually
Let's
get a
go,
trial,
dude. Huge.
and I'm flipping bouncing out of my chair. So I obviously got the trial, and at the time, like I was insane. So I was like dropping 30, and he's like, yep, you're in after the first scrim. I was like, yeah, let's go.
Damn.
And I remember that's when ESL Africa came, and you had to be 16, and I was like, ESL Africa was in September, and I was turning 16 in November. So I was just mainly a sub for Flipside, but
Sad.
that was like one of the biggest things that I learned at that age is like you don't have to be in the team at that time as long as you can represent the organization and play scrims and stuff to show people what you can do. Pretty much after Flipside things like broke out, and then I joined Sinister 5. And at that time I still didn't prove myself. I was still playing all these online tournaments. People still thought of me as a cheater. Obviously, a lot of the people at the higher level were more understandable of bringing me in, but a lot of the journalists and stuff like that, oh, this MisteM guy still has a lot to prove. Like, why are people taking um risks and stuff on him? Like, he could just be like a terrible cheater.
No.
And then I was playing in Sinister 5, and a lot of like people at the time were calling it like MisteM +5 or +4 or Sinister 1, and because I was literally just like
One man team.
doing my thing. And I was actually yelling that team at the same time, but that was probably one of my favorite teams to be in. It was like me, Rogue, Victor, Pex, and
Wait, Pex as
Dada?
in Pex 1.
BPEX. Yeah, the boy.
Yeah, well, he doesn't play anything anymore, right?
No,
Is this-
I think his name's Keegan, I think.
Yeah, no shit. That was him.
Yeah.
He was good at CS. I never
Yeah.
knew that.
That was probably one of my favorite teams. That team was insanely fun to be in. We would practice, we would flip and laugh. Man, it was great.
It was good times.
Yeah, I loved it. And yeah, that was like the time in which things happened. And I remember I was sitting in high school at this time, so I was like 17 now, still didn't play my first LAN. And I get a message from Black Poison on WhatsApp. He's like, "Yo, man, we want you to join Energy." So again, I still haven't played any LAN. I haven't proven myself, but Black Poison, it's like a lot of the time he would get like hate from people and stuff because of like his personality. He's just like a guy that would tell you as it is.
Straight
And
shooter.
yeah, so a lot of people can't handle that, and he was other than Zero Chance, he's the guy that took the risk on me, and I am always thankful to him because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And that's when I played my first LAN with Energy, and obviously I joined the big dogs. Like I literally joined in, and I was with Cunny, Domster, and Flexi instantly, and obviously
Literally
Black
the
Poison.
biggest players back then.
And I was like, okay. So that was like a time for me where the next person that was older than me, was flexing, and he was like 19, and I was 17. So there was a pretty big difference in age, because after that it was Thompson, he was like 23, and then Black Poison was 25, and like Cunny was like 26 at the time. And I'm joining this team with all of these like guys, and I had to go and share a house with them and stuff. And that was like a big turning point for me, that I now needed to feel independent.
Yeah.
So the way that I just got through the whole cheating thing is, it was obviously super hard to get through, but I just made sure that I became friends with some of the top people, because they were able to bring me in. They were inviting me to the 10-mans and stuff. If I didn't make friends with like JT and Zerachance at the time, it was pretty like scary and stuff like that. I would have just sat there by myself and getting called a cheater. So I never just sat by myself with these thoughts. I branched out to the people, and I made sure that like, I'm not going to let this affect me. I'm rather going to use it as motivation. So
To get better.
that's even
to prove yourself.
that's even what, yeah, that's what I even do now when it's like, if people call us bad as a team, or if they call me bad and say, oh, like, why is this guy in the team is stats or shit or whatever, I read every single comment that I can, and whether it's bad, I use it as motivation. If it's good, I use it for motivation. So I don't get affected by anything like that. You can call me like a shit player, and I'll be like, okay, let's 1v1. And if I fucking destroy you, then don't say shit to me again. Like, that's just how I think.
You must have a very, very good mental, because I feel like if I don't know how you do it with regards to, you know, reading all even the bad comments. That's pretty insane. That's pretty insane. I mean, that's a good it's a good motivator.
Yeah, I mean, obviously some of it is like extremely bad. Like, I remember I would get like, obviously the Russian bettors would message me on Instagram, and they would just be like, oh, fuck you, your mother should die, and flipping, you know, we would get like insanely bad stuff. Yeah, they would say the N-word. They would say like, you're so bad at this game. Like, what are you doing this round? Like, go hang yourself and shit like that. Like, it was bad. Like, I don't know how much I can say on stream, so I'll just leave it at that. But
no. Holy shit. I never thought it was... I never knew it was that bad. I knew about the people that betting and messaging, but like, what do you want to achieve with that? Like, my question is, what the fuck do you think you're going to achieve with that by messaging the player? Like, is that going to fix anything? That's going to bring your money back?
There was a guy that was always messaging Swisher, and he would always have a laugh whenever we lost a game. That's the first thing he checked, because the guy always messaged him after a loss, and he would open up Instagram, and this guy was so creative. He's like, I hope you like flip and jump off a cliff and a car like hits you or something while you're getting hit, and he would just come up with the greatest stuff. And
Jesus Christ! But you somehow use that as motivation, which I mean is great.
Yeah.
I want to jump over to chat.
On my side, then yeah.
Oh, dude,
I'm ready.
You're good. I want to jump over to chat. I saw a question earlier, but I feel like I missed it now. It was from Scorpio. He asked, "Do you remember what you spoke to JT and Tian with at your first rage?" I think that's what he asked. Let me see if I can just find it real quick. But yeah, we are interacting with Twitch chat as well. It's just I'm giving MisteM the opportunity to talk and, you know, to tell the whole story instead of just interrupting everyone. So if you guys have any questions and stuff, please remember to post them. I will get to them. When you first played Complexity at LAN, what were the chats that you had with JT and Tian, the NA LAN?
NA LAN. I think the first time that I saw them was at the RMR, which was in Sweden last year.
And what was that like? Is it like, I don't know how to ask this without... do you guys see each other and you see each other as friends, or do you guys see each other as enemies, or you're like, holy shit, dude, how have you been? What conversation even goes there?
The mentality that's built into my mind is outside the server we're friends, inside the server it's business. Okay. So that's like, outside the server I can chill with you, have fun, but as soon as I'm in the server, like, you're literally playing against me, like you're my fucking enemy. Like, I'm not going to type to you, I'm going to shoot your body, I'm going to teabag you, I'm going to do everything to get into your mental and stuff like that. So like the chats that we had was literally just what you would have with like a friend. I was catching up with Johnny, but I'm like a person that it's like he's at a higher level than me, and one of the biggest ways that I learn is by asking questions. So I would like DM like tier 1 people on Twitter and stuff and just be like, okay, what about this? Or when all the teams from Europe came to America for that IEM Dallas, like I added the RGLs on Steam and I started messaging them on Steam, like Snappy and all these other like people, and I was just asking like a shit ton of questions. So when it came to Johnny, I was just asking about like CS stuff, what does he do differently, other than that, I was literally just talking about teams, talking about how to improve different stuff. Like, how did he deal with like being in North America? How does he deal in being like the only South African? Like, how does he just function? And when it came to Tian, it was just again like some coaching stuff. Like, how does he prep the team for different stuff? Obviously, talking about South Africa, bringing some of the slang back because he hasn't heard like braai and flipping all these other stuff. Like making sure that he still remember boerewors and things. And we were just playing like table tennis or ping pong, whatever you want to call it, and just having vibes. Like it wasn't any bad chats. It was literally just catching up with like an old friend that I haven't spoken to in a very long time.
That's pretty good. I mean, I think that's a pretty healthy relationship to be in with people that are your enemies on the server, as you would say, and you get to learn from them, which I think is fucking great.
Yeah.
But now
People wanted me to say them. I was flipping Tyler in here. He said that I need to notice him.
who's
And
Tyler?
Artax is in here.
Who's Tyler? Cheetah Boy.
Cheetah Boy. Yeah.
Cheetah Boy. Not even screaming enough. Well, that is actually pretty insane. That that knowing that you played with these guys in South Africa in 10 mans, and now fast forward 5-6 years, and now you're playing in the biggest qualifiers against each other with international teams. That is insane. I mean, JT, hats off to him. Same to Tian. I mean, they are, to me, they are the equivalent of, they made it in the scene. Obviously the next big thing would be to win a major for them, but I mean, they're playing for Complexity, arguably one of the better NA teams out there, if they are still full on NA, I think. But for them, like they've essentially made it. So the fact you can hang out with them and you can still see them as old friends, I think that's great. I always wonder, like, do pro players get bigger egos the more they accomplish in life? Like, JT sees you at LAN and he's like, ugh, missed him, who the fuck is this guy, right? But the fact that you say that you can just walk up to him and be homies, I think that's absolutely great.
I think like a lot of people just see ego as like a bad thing, and I think that's, look, I think ego is a good thing to have if you have stuff to back it up. Like I will come back to like South Africa and have an ego on myself, but I'm not going to express it in a bad way. I'm just going to rather be the guy that would give advice. And the way that I see like my ego, at least, is if I'm explaining CS stuff and someone else explains CS stuff, for example, like, I don't know, if someone in chat asks for advice and someone else in chat's trying to give advice and we arguing about it, my advice is always going to be better because I've exceeded what that guy has done. Unless it's like me and flipping Blame F going, then I'm like, okay, take Blame F's advice,
Yeah.
But if it's me and some other South African guy, then rather
Some
take my
random
advice because I know what I'm talking about, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the way that I have egoed it. It's not really, I'm going to be like, okay, like I'm 10 times better than you. I know in my mind, that's just how I am with anyone, no matter who I'm playing, that's just how I am. But I'm not going to express that to other people.
Well, I think, like you said, you have the ego, but you're not going to express it. You'll express it in moments where you feel like you have a little bit more knowledge. I got one from Exile here. This might be a personal question. I completely understand if you don't want it answered. But how is the salary as a competitive Counter-Strike player? Is it livable, and can you live comfortably while doing what you love? Or is it basically minimum wage and you do it more because it's your passion? Now, before you answer, I've had this conversation with not only misteM, but a few other players as well, both international and local. And I would love your input, misteM, on both ends, international and local, because I see you now as an international player. And I mean, you mentioned earlier yourself, what you make internationally compared to local is vast differences. So what would you say?
Locally, if you want to like live in a shack with low internet, then sure. But
well,
when I was playing local, I was earning 4,000 rand a month. That was like the max that I was getting. I can like mention that number because that's not what I'm earning anymore. But I was getting 4,000 rand a month, and that's not really living, really.
You
so
can't do it 4K in my country.
So that's locally you won't be able to unless you're able to find an organization that's willing to pay you 10,000 rand a month. But the thing is, no one's really going to do that because there's no opportunities in South Africa unless there's plenty of overseas qualifiers and stuff like that. In terms of overseas, I can give like a little bit more numbers. When I came overseas, I was earning like 18,000 rand a month. So it increased when I came overseas. I don't earn that anymore, but there was a drastic increase now. And other organizations, so tier 1, like the top teams, Liquid, Astralis, those type of teams, they're earning $40,000 to $50,000 a month. That's what they're earning, just purely based off salary. So that's pretty livable, I would say.
Jesus Christ.
Teams
That's a
that are
lot of money.
little bit above us, like Godsend or Complexity, those type of teams, they earning between 8 to 15,000. So
Dollars.
in terms of yeah,
Jesus.
so in terms of rands, teams that are like a little bit above us, they getting about 100,000 to 150,000 rand a month, and then teams that like tier 1 level Liquid and stuff like that, they earning just under 1,000,000 rand
A month.
So yeah,
A month, chat. A month. That's a lot of money, dude. But you have to give props where props is due, because esports is no longer just a joke on the block. Even though people might still make fun of it, it is a big thing, and especially CSGO esports. Or CSGO as an esport has grown a lot. I mean, the game has been dying for what, 20 years now? Every year you hear the same thing, oh, dead game. And then the major comes and everyone is excited to watch it. So I want to get a little bit into, I want to go a little bit into CSGO, if you don't mind. How do you feel about the state of the game? As a pro player and as a casual player, I think our views obviously differ a lot compared to what we look at. But for me, I think we haven't had an operation since, I think 2021 end. So I think we've been on a year drought year. Or it might have been but it's been a while. It's been a while. So for me, there's nothing new coming to the game. Look, I hate Counter-Strike, but I absolutely love Counter-Strike. So for me as a casual player, it's very difficult to keep on playing with nothing new being added, even though I still play every day, because I just genuinely enjoy it. But as a competitive player, you guys look at things a little bit differently. Would you say, as a pro, would you say that CSGO caters more towards the pro scene, or do you think they cater more towards the casual scene? What is your opinion on it as a whole? Because I would say, and then sorry to interrupt you, but as I would say is that they cater a lot more towards the pro scene. I feel like they only really care about that when they, like, for example, make map changes. You know, they just add whatever they want. They don't really listen to the community, but they kind of do in a way. I don't know. They're very the CS:GO admin, or not admin, the devs or mods or whatever. They're very, very mysterious.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you. It's more pro related. It's not really casual related, because if you look from like a Valve's perspective, in order for them to earn money, it's not necessarily from the pro players, because the pro players are taking their money by playing the tournaments, right? In order for them to get the money, it's about people buying keys, people buying skins, people buying the new operation. So it's literally hurting them that they're delaying operations, delaying new cases and stuff like that. So that's how they earn money, unless you're buying Counter-Strike itself. And yeah, I mean, it's more pro related. I think more in depth to the game, this is like the worst map pool ever. Ever since I've played Counter-Strike, it's literally the worst map pool for anyone, even people playing Faceit. Like, you literally, if you want to pug, you're only playing like
Mirage.
2 maps, like Mirage and Inferno. Those are like the 2 puggy maps that you can play. Like Dust 2's gone now. And before that, you know, you had Train, which was like also like a puggy map.
I love Train.
Hated it with a passion, but each to its own. But
what? You hated Train?
Yeah, because
such
I mean,
a nice map, dude. There's so much to do.
The thing is, it was literally a map. Like at a pro level, you either do a B exec every single round, or you just run out A with 15 flashes.
And you
like,
hope
not even kidding.
You hope one of your homies just one taps someone in at hell or stop sign.
We literally had a strat where we would drop 6 flashes to one guy, and slowly would just be sitting there throwing flashes and throwing flashes and throwing flashes, and we're just running out A, and everyone's blind. And it's just like, that's such a boring way to play Counter-Strike. Like, you can't.
I can respect that. I can respect that.
And then we had a B exec where you literally just smoke Z, everything. And then, you know, next to the Train, then you molly this, you molly that, you flash this, and then as a B player, you can only play 2 spots, but you're gonna get blind, so you have to play retake. So it's not really that great. But in terms of CS, definitely a pro-focused game. Just because, like, you can see the difference in terms of like casual players, like on League of Legends, Dota, and even Valorant. There's so many more casual players. There's so many more streams. There's so many much more exposure for the game.
I have to agree
Even
there.
like on like social media, like the CS:GO Twitter itself doesn't really message much. They don't really interact with people. It's mainly just they would
Talent and pro players.
they only message talent pro players, or if they come out with like new CS:GO notes. There's no like polls like what would you guys like to see in CS:GO in the near future. This
No.
is what's happening with Source 2. This is what's happening in the next update. There's no interaction, so it's literally just how it is. And I think like they've done enough. Like CS:GO's been out for a long time, so obviously they don't need the money. But you obviously, if you care about the money, then you know you're in the wrong thing. But if you care about the game, like how I am, for example, like if someone had to offer me $40,000 to go and play Valorant, I will not do it. People might think I'm crazy, but I'm
Just
more
'cause
passion driven
yeah.
than money driven.
Mm.
So it's like CS is my passion. Like no matter what, I will play CS
It's
for
okay.
whatever I want. And I think if the developers were the same, if they cared so much about the game, then they would do everything in their power to make sure that they can like get the game to the next level. But they seem like they care about the money more because they really just don't care about the community. And you can see the amount of bugs that are in there. You know, the FPS bug, which has been there for like ever. Like, why isn't that fixed
Literally
yet?
forever.
So it's just like, yeah,
So
I can fully agree with what you're saying.
you guys were the first pro team to play Anubis, right?
Yeah,
On an official.
yeah.
Damn. So, what are your thoughts? Anubis or Dust 2?
Anubis. I mean,
No.
I've always.
Okay,
I've
what are your
always
thoughts on
enjoyed.
Dust 2? Because I've had this conversation with nobody in chat, Josh, and he asked me to ask you. But what are your thoughts on, like, do you really think that that Dust 2 is worse than Anubis?
From a pros level, yeah, because it was literally a map that, again, it was like similar to Train. There's only so much that you can do because it's just obviously the new Dust 2, it kind of limited it. Whereas like the old Dust 2, then I would say, okay, it's different. But this current Dust 2, like with that new wall, you had CTs that could just run up mid, you had CTs that could go into lowers and stuff like that. In terms of like Anubis, I enjoy it just because it's a new map. Like it feels like
But
a
that
new
probably feels
t-shirt
very
that you
fresh.
just yeah. I did no theory crafting. Like my fucking team's insane. Like I just entry on the map. Like I don't even know nades even now. Like I don't know nades. I just drop my nades and I just run because they were like literally in the server theory crafting, swishes like I don't know, probably the biggest brain that I have seen because he is making stuff that I never even thought of, and like we were finding one-way mollies, we were finding glitch mollies, we were finding like the one-way smokes. Every single execute that you see is purely off my team. It was not me
All
theory
of them.
crafting anything,
Damn.
and it's literally all the props to them for Anubis. I literally just sit and hold an angle, like I lurk on the map because I don't know what to do. So they go and do what they want, and I just hold A, and then I don't even know like the skybox molly that we meant to throw, so I just bounce it off the wall. Like yesterday, even like we have like this nade set to clear A main, and we have to like bounce through the molly, and I didn't even know it, so I just threw it off the wall, and that was literally it. And it's like a lurk smoke that we meant to do, and I
Would
was like, you know
you
what, fucking. So,
would you say you guys are pretty confident in Anubis now? Like you guys are like, I mean, you're saying you guys don't have a lot of theory crafting on it, but your team has. But would you say you guys are very? I mean, you guys won it yesterday. What was the score? I can't remember.
16-14.
16-14. So it was quite close. But would you say you guys are feeling confident on the map, or?
Yeah, for sure. It's a map that's still developing, so those type of games, it's you might just get surprised by something, but we kind of have like an idea. Like we can obviously watch like what other tier 1 teams are doing. And when Liquid and stuff was here, we were scrimming them every single day on Anubis, and we were just talking to each other like what did you guys do differently and stuff like that, because we were preparing them for the Abu Dhabi World Final. Like they were scrimming us and we were scrimming them, and
But you guys actually helped
they
each
were
other.
yeah, so they
Wow.
were like throwing smokes that we've never seen. They were throwing execs that we've never seen. We were throwing stuff that they've never seen, and
It's kind
we
of
were just
wholesome, dude.
yeah, we were just like supporting each other. Like Spray was messaging Daps, which is like the coach of Liquid, and they were saying, okay, like this timing was really bad. This was like really good from you guys. We weren't blind in these specific spots, so they just adapted. And every single day we would see a new change of like what they were doing, and what we were doing is what we would adapt. Okay, like Elige fucking like destroyed us when we were trying to do this mid control. What did he do? Okay, like he smoked the molly and got a one way. So okay, we can't do that anymore. So that's just like how we improved on
It
Anubis, and
evolves.
then it's a nice comfort pick for us because now we can just have an edge over all the teams. So like versus MRBR yesterday, for example, we knew that they banned Mirage, so we could comfortably pick Anubis, and they playing with like a new guy. So there's no way that they have theory on Anubis, so they literally had to pack it out. So when it came to like CT side, it's a stupid T-sided map, so they could just swing everything comfortably. And when we went on T side, we were like owning them, and it was like 14-9, 13-9, and then Henny just popped off, and like our money got fucked and stuff. But that was generally like a game that we would win like 16-10 if we didn't lose like a specific 1v1.
Wow. Okay, so it really does come down to the line on specific rounds.
Yeah.
Would you? Well, yeah. Let's talk about the main thing here. You are officially, or you guys got the last ESL Pro League spot yesterday for NA,
Yep.
which is congratulations, by the way. That's fucking huge.
Thank you, sir.
So what happens now? What's the next thing now? What is the next? What's next in your sights? Like, how do you guys go forward? What is the next LAN event? What happens now?
Today we celebrate because of yesterday.
Nice.
So today we've still got work to do. Spray and I make sure we get our work done first. So watching the demos from yesterday as a team. Then after that we going to a restaurant. The guys that are in Canada. So myself, Bowden, Swisher, and his girlfriend. We're gonna go to like a nice fancy restaurant and have some butternut squash raviolis. Those are like insane. And then after that we're gonna go to a club. And then from tomorrow there's gonna be we still got cash cups to do. So tomorrow we got cash cups. We got like a CCT tournament, which is like another variation of a cash cup. We have the RMR or the major qualifiers to go back to Mexico, which sucks, but whatever. We have a whole bunch of like other tournaments and stuff like that. But then to go to Pro League, we're gonna have a boot camp. So we'll boot camp from like the 27th of Feb up until we get our group for Pro League. So it could be like the middle of March or whatever. But we plan on going to boot camp for at least like a month or so.
Okay.
In Europe.
Proper boot camp.
Yeah, and then we'll do like Pro League, probably play a couple of European tournaments when we're there. Come back, play the RMR qualifiers, and then obviously go to Mexico if we do that. And then once we win that, then we'll go to Paris. So it's like a lot of traveling and stuff like that. So from
So a
now
lot
it's
in the
literally
pipeline.
tournament to tournament. Yeah, it's a lot. And like DJ is obviously he was part of Evil Geniuses, and he played 16 games in 6 months. So 16
Officials.
games pretty much. Yeah, 16 officials. So once he joined the team, he had already played 16 officials in like a month's time compared to 16 officials in 6 months.
Holy crap! So he's learning as well.
So he like told us literally yesterday. He said like the work that you guys do compared to like Evil Geniuses is like a very like a difference in terms of work ethic. Because I think there's just more on the line for us. Obviously, like even like the certain Evil Geniuses teams, like they can practice all they want, but they have to decide what sort of tournaments they want to play. Because obviously the main EG roster, you know, with Breeze and everyone, they're gonna go and play the majors. They're gonna go and play the Pro League. And then the other two Evil Geniuses teams, one of them can play a Cash Cup, the other one can play the CCT tournament, the other one can play the other Cash Cup. So it's like, even though you're wanting to practice, like for us, like 10 to 12 hours a day, what are you practicing for? Like, I would hate to be in that situation.
No.
So, when he joined here, we obviously working harder, we obviously playing for a lot more. When we told him like, hey, this is what we're playing for, he was like, damn, like it's super nice to see like the pipeline of everything that's going on.
Well, that must at least be a good entry into the environment for him as well, because now he knows that, like you said, you're
Discord, I think.
Wait, can you hear me? Because I can
like
hear you.
timing out for me. I can't even hear you.
Okay, well, we'll give it a second. As long as the Twitch stream is still live. Thoughts? I see everyone's questions in chat. I will get to them. Will get to them. We will get to them. I see I am still live, so I think I'm just losing him for a second. Although we might just have to call him back. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the just chatting in the podcast. I do see all the questions. If you guys can do me a favor, everything you want me to ask him, just post it again. We'll get to him. We'll get to him. MisteM, can you hear me yet? Are you back yet? No, he's not back yet. We might have to phone him back. Yeah, I think we might just have to do a quick little recall. Let's do that. You back?
Hello?
Yo. I lost you there for a second, bro.
I don't freaking know, dude. Canadian internet, right?
Oh, mega lol, dude. Imagine the third world country has a better internet than the first world country. So I have a question. I don't know if you are willing to talk about it. And you clearly, everything is okay. But you guys have obviously gotten the Pro League spot now. Just before the year ended, you guys went. Fady was still there, and now Fady is obviously home because he has an operation coming up, if I'm not wrong. So now you guys got MOT back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are you willing to talk about what exactly happened there? Why he was? Did you guys have a mutual agreement on letting him go, or was there just like some team synergy issues? What? Because you have to understand from the outside, it seems like a pretty uncomfortable situation. Like a month after being let go, you're like, yo, so listen, we need you to come back. I mean, obviously, he even said himself he was more than happy to jump back in with the team. But how did that all correspond? What happened there? If you're obviously willing to talk about it.
I mean, it's literally nothing personal. It's pretty much like what I told him. I love Ian. He's honestly like one of the best teammates that I've been with. Biggest hype guy that I've ever played with. Like, this man's screams and shit like that always gets us refocused in the game. We felt that we got to a point, even though we were doing good, our focus was not on North America anymore. We became like the best North American team that we could. So it came down to being the best European team that we can. And we kind of just hit like a ceiling where we're like, okay, we need to get like someone else in that can get us to that next part. So it was a mutual agreement, if you want to put it like that. It was nothing bad. It was nothing against him. It was nothing against like the team. Nothing was not working, if that makes sense. Everything was working, but we wanted to go to like the next point in our careers as a team and shit like that.
Okay. So nothing crazy. Okay, so yeah, I think people are just theory crafting like all these dumb things about like saying maybe this happened or that. Okay, well, I can hear him, and that's all that matters, Chad. We know exactly what we heard. I see more questions. Yeah, he said he didn't have any breakfast. Let me give him a quick little call back. We'll swap over this scene, and then we'll just give him a call back real quick. This might just might fix our little issue. I still see you, Chad. Don't worry, we're still here. We're still here. Everything's fine. Can you hear me now?
Hi. Yeah.
There we go. Why do you what Canadian internet, dude? Come on, bro. What in
500 meg fiber.
Well, it doesn't look like it.
I don't freaking know what's going on, dude.
So
Must be Discord, bro.
I was doing a little bit of research on you today, trying my best, and I saw.
Question: worst professional CSGO experience.
Oh yeah, I was gonna get to that. I was gonna get to that one. I was gonna get to one. Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Let me think. I mean, other than being held at gunpoint in Mexico.
Yeah. I mean, that's not really a professional moment, though. That's like just you being there, unfortunately, in that moment.
Let me try and think. In game, probably like when you're whiffing and you're like behind someone with trigger discipline. That's probably like one of the worst moments. Outside of like the server, I don't think I've had like a worse experience. I've had like bad experiences in terms of like organization like type of stuff, in terms of like missing a bus or something like that in order to get to the tournament. Yeah, I don't think like I've had like an insanely bad like experience where I'm like, okay, this was like pretty terrible.
No.
I think it's been pretty smooth so far.
Worst tournament?
Other than like worst tournament?
Yeah, maybe there's something that comes up there.
Oh, yeah, RMR. My stats were terrible. I don't think I had like a 1 rating. Everything was like 0.8 I think my highest was 0.98 or something. That was like the biggest thing for me. I guess like the worst tournament experiences was like 9Z. We watched their demos like the night before, and we knew that we could beat them. They were not looking good at all, and then we just cracked under pressure and we got absolutely smashed, like 16-3.
No.
And that was like a pretty worst experience because we knew that we could beat them. So it's just like I wanted to put purple like stickers on my AK Vulcan, and the only team that could come to mind was 9Z, and I was like, no shot on putting 9Z stickers on my AK. So I was looking at different purple ones, but they were all like really bad or really expensive. So I had to go with like EG stickers. That's like more blue, but whatever.
I remember I messaged you after, or we spoke a bit just after you guys lost the RMRs, and you were quite disappointed in yourself. I feel like because you feel like you maybe, well, not just in yourself, but disappointed in the team as a whole because of, you know, like you just said, you feel like you guys had them read pretty well, and you guys lost. And so how do you prep for the next major now? Because the next major is coming up fairly soon. I mean, the RMRs, you said you're going to have to go back to Mexico, but what are you going to do different this time? Yeah, guys have a new team structure now, new player. I don't know when Fady's going back. But like, what do you feel? What do you feel? Oh shit, dude. What do you feel is going to be? What do you think you're going to do differently this time, or try and do different? I mean, not necessarily that you have to do something different, but you've now seen maybe a few changes in the chain of like things you guys can fix or things you guys can work on. I mean, you've now played a major. You've played a major or qualified for major. I feel like the pressure is off now. You're now just there to prove to yourself that you can.
I think we can definitely do it. I mean, I could smell victory last time. You know, I was literally, we had to win one best of 3, and I would have had like my own stickers in the game. I would have been at the major. Like, that would have been my next dream that I wanted to accomplish. In terms of doing anything different, I'm not even thinking about that just yet because we need to qualify there first. Okay. So it's more just getting there before I even think about like what can we do differently. But I mean, what we did last year was fine. It literally just came down to, I guess, pressure, maybe just some internal problems, and stuff like that that won't even affect us like going into it. Like, there's obviously always pressure when you're playing in LAN, but now that it's like, okay, like I've played a major qualifier before, I'm not really like, I played one in 2019, but I mean that was a South
the
African
Berlin
team.
one, yes, yeah, I remember.
That was like, you know, South African team overseas, that was like your dream already. Making the major was like far-fetched. If you made it, then stick, but it was a very far-fetched thought to have. So didn't really think too much about it, but obviously last time I had the smaller victory. So if you want to put it in terms of like, I went to my first major, okay, got a taste what it was like, sick. Next time I got it, okay, now I'm extremely close. Third time's a charm, right? I have to make it this time. And nothing's gonna stop me. My mentality is losing is not an option. So
you're full on focused.
Yeah, so right now we're just focusing on tournament to tournament. Next up is Cash Cup. Cash Cups are really good for obviously money for the organization, for everything that they're doing for us. And then also we get ESL points. So the more ESL points we have, the higher the chance we have to more tournament invites. So like Katowice or Cologne, anything like that, we get like invites to that.
That would be sick.
So we're like 19th, I think, at the moment. 19th in the world on ESL. So if we just keep going higher and higher, we just more invites and things would go great.
That's amazing. I truly believe that you guys have what it takes. So definitely just keep doing you, bro. Because like you said earlier, even the new player that joined said like he hasn't experienced the work ethic like that, and I think that says a lot about the different teams. So I was doing research on you today, and the what's it called, the interesting stuff. I was trying to find something that I can maybe dive back into a bit. But I mean, we pretty much spoke about like your rise to fame in the scene. And there's an interesting stat that I came across. It says from 2018 till 2022, I don't know how up to date this is, you've earned $25,000 in prize money. Would you say that's accurate?
I think it's more. I think it's 32, 35.
Okay, so it's not as accurate. So I wanted to ask this now. So if you get, let's say you win a cash cup, and the cash cup is $1,000. I don't know. What do a cash cow pay these days? What is the going rate?
$9,000 first place.
Okay, $9,000. So how does that work? You obviously you don't have to give me specifics. I wouldn't ask for specifics or anything. But it's like, does the all get half of it, or is it like very situationally based? Do players get a percentage of a tournament they win, or do you guys just get like a salary? How does it work really if you guys win or get second or third place in any cash cup or anything?
So we get a salary from ATK. Then in terms of prize money, there's a set number in our contract that ATK will take, and we would get as well. It doesn't matter if we win or lose, if we play higher in a tournament, if we place lower in a tournament, that is a specific number that they will take. And then we would divide that by, so they would take their percentage, and then the percentage left over, we'll divide that by 6. So 5 other players plus the coach, and then that's the prize money that we would get.
Okay, so it pretty much gets split even between the players and the org. Obviously, as a player, you'll just get like a less of a cut because there's 6 of you.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it's actually not that confusing at all. I thought there might be a lot more schematics involved with it. I mean, it probably is different from org to org.
Yeah, certain orgs would like, I wouldn't say take, I guess more organizations in North America and Europe would take a lower percentage than a South African organization, but that's because they don't really need like that much prize money because they're getting sponsorship money, they're getting exposure, everything that they want, as well as they also include like salary bonuses and stuff. So instead of them like taking less prize money, they would rather repay you with like a higher salary or like a Christmas bonus, or like if a certain player does really good, they'll give out like a player bonus and stuff like that. So if you're like earning $40,000 a month, they might be like, okay, if you guys place top 3 in this tournament, we'll pay you an extra $20,000 each. So then they would get $60,000 for that month or something.
Jesus. I mean, that's the money that's flying around on those teams.
Yep.
It's obviously a vast difference compared to the South African salaries to I'm just going to say overseas salaries, which counts both EU, NAs, and NZ.
For sure, yeah.
What would you say? What are your thoughts on like the South African scene as a whole? Obviously, not as involved anymore, but as an outsider or someone who is. So I see myself more as just the CSGO guy that tries to stay up to date with like trying to figure out who's doing what tournament or whatever. But I feel like there's always a team that makes it and then they're like the top team for like a year and then it just recycles. There's no new talent and stuff that comes out from my side. And I also feel like people are focused on the wrong things because they will start these Twitter rants about there not being any tournaments, and then people are actively trying to host tournaments where no one signs up. Right, stuff like that. They're complaining about the wrong things and not focusing on practicing for maybe the bigger leagues. As someone who's now made it out of South Africa, what do you think? Like, what do you think as someone who made it to the overseas part? What do you think people should rather focus on? Aside from you better yourself as a player, but like as players trying to get into a different community, I guess. What would you say should people rather focus on, and what advice do you have for people like that trying to make it out of South Africa into not just any player, someone who's actively trying to get out of ZA?
I think for an individual, I'm going to be doing it like individual based and then team based. So individually, you have to have the mentality that you want to make it. There's no, do I want to do it? Do I not want to do it? For me, when I was 12, 13, whenever I started playing CS, I knew I wanted to go overseas. So there was nothing stopping me. I set my mind to it and I did everything that I could. You need to, like, you never know when an opportunity is going to come. So for me, for example, I didn't even think about I knew that I wanted to go overseas, but I never knew that Warren or Lee was going to contact me and take me overseas. I never thought that was going to be an opportunity, right? So what's stopping another organization from coming into South Africa and then just saying hey, we want to pick up this team? So for a South African individual, you need to have the mentality, okay, I want to go overseas. And I'll shout out one person that I know that I've taken a look at, and there's only one person that I can kind of see that wants to make it overseas, and it's Frozen. He's been a guy that I've seen on social media, also in my Twitch and stuff. He's been driven enough So it's using him as an example. If you wanted to get overseas, like it depends on how close you are with your family. If you have an opportunity to go over a season and shit like that, then you need to either get there by yourself and like, for example, for me, if I had to come overseas, I would come and live with like family in Canada or something. You know, somewhere down the line, you might have some sort of connections. So it starts with mentality first, and it starts with a routine. How are you going to get there? Like, there's no point in saying, "Yeah, I want to go overseas one day." Anyone can say that. But how are you going to get overseas? You need to have a
No.
plan in place. So some people, okay, I need to finish school first, then I'm going to do, waitressing or doing some type of job for a year to get enough money, and then I'm going to go overseas for a year and see if I can make it. So kind of similar to like a Black Poison situation when he went to Sweden. Kind of similar to that type of thing. You can make it that way. Now, in terms of a team organization, it's the same thing. You never know if an organization is just going to pop around the corner. So you need to strive to be the best South African team and not just strive to be a team that needs to win Comic Con, a team that needs to win Rage or anything like that. When we were like having our era, myself and Spray built into the team that we will be the best South African team, no matter what. And we obviously had that era for like a year or whatever without losing a best of three. So they just need to focus on the mentality sides of things because, as I said, like it's all mental. It's got nothing to do with like how good you are as a CS player. You obviously need skill firstly, but it's more about just getting there mentally. Once you're there mentally, you need to even message like different organizations. Just be like, hey, like, can you help us get overseas? Just send us there for 6 months. There's definitely organizations that can do it. Like
Is that to prove it?
Even current South African organizations. Like I've had chats with certain CEOs, and I know that they can do it. But why do they want to do it? What's their benefit? You need to kind of push these guys to say like, hey, these 5 individuals are really driven to go overseas. Like, send us overseas. We will prove to you that we can do it within a year.
No.
Like, no organization or CEO is going to be like, oh, these guys are like not really practicing. Their hours are like 30, 40 hours. Obviously, there's no motivation in terms of tournaments in South Africa. And we kind of were luckily in a position where it was like peak COVID. So, there was plenty of tournaments for us, lots of things to play for. But at the same time, like it's still South Africa. So it's not as if we had a tournament every single day. We were still playing like VS Masters for like a whole year. And then we would have the occasional Rage and then occasional like Nodwin Masters. Those were like the 3 that we played.
Yeah, I feel like there's one tournament in South Africa, and that's just the VS Masters, which is now, I feel like, kind of changed a bit now that we have in South Africa Masters, which is now the new thing in South Africa. I feel like, and I do feel like Middle State are really trying something here. I mean, having Intel on board as a sponsor or a main sponsor, I think is huge. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be another Inter Africa Masters very, very soon. And I mean, that can only open more doors to not only players but to teams, to see if they can, broaden the horizons a bit and go over, towards the overseas side. And I mean, it's only a matter of time. Maybe the Inter Africa Masters does great, and then ESL is like, hey, let's throw some money their way and maybe get like a ESL Cape Town or something. It sounds dumb to say, but in theory, it's possible. It's entirely possible for them to see, hey, maybe there is an opportunity, or maybe there is an opportunity to grow a little bit more into the ZA scene. As small as we are, I mean, it's the same as you said earlier with Dubai and stuff like that. So Dubai is it's a small area, or UAE is a small area, but they also have teams. They have international tournaments. Why can't we be next, right?
Yep,
Except for the fact of load shedding.
I've had chats with like, load shedding it's down bad for you guys right now. Like that's extremely bad, but that's like, we have like a sports psychologist, and that was like one of the biggest talking points with him is we spoke about like load shedding when we were in South Africa, and we said like, how do we deal with like practicing and stuff like that? And he built into our minds, even to this day, I use it every single day. And he said, can you control load shedding? You can't, right?
No.
So why are you fussing about it? It's an uncontrollable. So he built into our minds your emotions and your stress and your pressure, whatever you're feeling, you build it around what you can control. So for example, your nerves, your mentality, your attitude, you can control that, but you can't control what's happening with load shedding. You can't control if your internet randomly bombs out. You can't control if you have 15% packet loss. So that's why like my mentality is like, obviously it's annoying, obviously it's bad, but use load shedding as like a time to do something else. Enhance your knowledge on like a book, enhance like, I don't know, journaling, designing new strats. Like you don't need to be in a server in CS to design strats. You can literally be on a laptop or anything like that. So for me, it's just different. But I'm not in South Africa, so I'm not really getting affected by load shedding. But obviously, speak to my parents. I speak to people in South Africa, and I know it's shit. Like it's extremely bad. But getting back to like the whole organization thing, like let's just say a certain point, right? Let's say now that we make Pro League, and we get bought out by a certain organization, maybe, I don't know, flipping some organization buys us out. What happens if Warren comes back to South Africa and he's like, yeah, I'm going to send another team overseas? He's now going to look, now he's going to look at who's the next best team. He's going to look at who's the next best individual. So for me, he came to me because I knew what I wanted to do. So he might just, you know, as I said, like Frozen's the guy that I would go to. He might just say, okay, like Frozen, like who do you want to pick? So it comes down to that similar situation. Like you can't just like chase an opportunity that's not there. An opportunity will come to you when it's the right time.
But you also have to, from your side, make effort to try and get the opportunity, wouldn't you say? Like you have to prove that
for
you
sure.
you can get that opportunity. Because I mean, you wouldn't have gotten that message from Warren if he didn't see obviously your passion and your drive behind it. I feel, and this is my opinion. I just want to make this part. It's my opinion. This is from an outsider's perspective. This is about talking to other pros and other people. And one of the biggest things I fucking realize or notice is that a lot of the South African pros, the people who are playing in teams, and I'm not talking the tier 1 South African teams. This is not more like the guys who are trying to get there. They all have such an ego on each other or on themselves with regards to like saying they're just better than everyone, and they just talk shit about each other. Where you said earlier, quite literally, you were scrimming Liquid, Team fucking Liquid, the people who are arguably one of the best teams in the world. You were scrimming against them, and you guys were helping each other. You guys were helping each other with like, or giving each other advice. I didn't fucking understand why South Africa has to be such a fucking linchpin of just a bunch of toxic fucking people just talking shit about each other on Twitter or afterwards. Like, to me, it's just, and this is not leading to a question or anything. It's just I just love to say this publicly. Like, I feel like it's so dumb because a lot of times I would hang out on the Discord, right? And I'm fortunate enough to be one of the God, I don't want to put a fucking toot my own horn here, but one of the biggest streamers in South Africa. So I get the opportunity, and because I play CS, I get to play with some of the pros, or I get to talk to them at least. I mean, that's how I got to meet you. It's how I got to meet Fady, Frozen, fucking Nobody, there's all these people. Like, it wouldn't have happened if I wasn't a streamer. Nobody would have given a fuck about me. And like you said, it's about who you know, not what you know. And that's how I got in. And every single time I would join, you know, maybe late night Discord calls, or maybe hang out with some pros or play MM with them, there'd always be something that comes up about this people being like, yeah, this guy's kind of cringe because he did X, Y, Z, or this guy's kind of lame because he did X, Y, and Z. And I feel like it's so unnecessary. Like, why not build on each other? Why not rather just build on each other instead of just shitting down each other's throats all the time? When I casted, or like I don't really cast, I meme cast a lot of or I used to meme cast a lot of like the VS games and stuff like that, and I got that idea from Deza. People would just come to chat and they'll just like shit on another player if he hits like a nutty shot, like, oh, this guy's definitely cheating, and then the next day on Twitter there's like another person being out there for cheating. Like, bro, who the fuck cares? Like, focus on other shit. Like, there's so much more important shit. Especially if you want to make it in Counter-Strike, then fucking focusing on someone who hit a 90 shot.
Yep. I think there's just like a little thing in chat. Like, there is some things like in the region, like in at least amongst other teams like us, we would like shit talk about other teams. Those teams would shit talk about us. Like, there is like shit talking going on, but like within like the teams itself, there's never really like a very big like, okay, they're shitting on top of each other. You'll have the occasional one or two teams, but majority as a whole, every single person that I've spoken to has always spoken highly about someone else.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
feel
only
like
like,
there's a difference between banter and shit talking though, because
yeah,
there's gonna be banter. Like I'm pretty sure
for
if
sure.
you hop into a game against Liquid or EG or whatever, you're gonna be like, "Oh, Elite, I'm gonna fucking destroy you today." But that's not. You're not being toxic. That is the banter, the general banter. Elite will come back like, "Yeah, bro, come try me," you know. But where you, like you say, shit talking, where people are literally going out of their way to talk shit about a said player or said team, which is something that just
Sure, yeah.
happens all the time in South Africa.
I think I kind of experienced it myself when I was in South Africa, the whole ego thing. I would go and join, I don't know, like I'd play a matchmaking, or I would play a Billisoft pickup or something like that back in the day, and even though I was owning, people would still like ego me when I'm 10 times better than them.
No.
So I think there's three topics that like I want to bring up. The first one is maturity. I think a lot of the South Africans, at least in Division One, or whatever's below like the better
Yeah,
part of
Prem
like the
Div
South
and then
African
First Div,
teams.
I guess. So.
If it's like first div, majority of it comes down, like this isn't everyone, but majority of it comes down to maturity. A lot of the time people don't know what to build on. People just don't have anything to look forward to. So it's mainly a lot of people want to be the best individual and not the best team. So that's where the
Very
majority
good point.
that's where the maturity part comes in, because people like, if I become the best individual, then Goliath or Nixu or Bravado is going to pick me up. But no, that's not how those teams think.
You have to
They're
grow
going
as
to
a
think,
team.
yeah, they're going to think about, okay, what does this guy bring to the table? At least that's what I brought thought about when I build my teams is, okay, what do you bring to the table that's going to make me get to the next level? I'm not going to get someone that's going to 40 bomb in a fucking retake or 40 bomb in a um, pug or whatever. Like, what's that going to do? You're going to go play against Black Poison and ADM, you're going to get one tap. What then?
Because
You
they
know
know
what
how
I
to
mean? So it's
anti-strat
like,
you. They know how to counter you because they've practiced. That's them.
so it's just like whatever the case is. But going to like the next thing is also respect. A lot of the time, like people in like Division 1 don't actually have like a really good leader or someone that's good enough to have everyone's respect. And the only way that you build like if you are nobody and you're coming into a team that's better than you, the only way that you get built respect is by through work ethic or being a nice guy. Those are the two ways that you get it done. No one wants to have respect for you if you're a stupid like person that just rages all the time. And the other time is if you have a really good work ethic, people can't be like, oh, but you're not working hard. Oh, but you're not watching your demos. But you're not doing your deathmatch. So if like Division 1 teams want to get to like a higher level, instead of just complaining and bitching about each other, just have the maturity to be like, okay, let's build together as a team, let's have a practice schedule, and then let's work hard. Those are the two things that you need to do.
As
And then
a team.
the third thing is like today's generation is very attention driven. So it's like talking shit about someone and stuff like that. Like it's, to me, it's banter and stuff rather than actual shit talking, unless it's like you using extremely hard like words.
Or personal
Then
stuff.
if it's just like, oh, this guy is so bad, like look at this terrible shot that he did, meanwhile it's like an insane flick, that's just banter to me. Like, don't take it personally, like whatever. So it's so attention driven on social media that when someone posts like their opinion, someone else wants to get involved and that thing blows up, like that just benefits them rather than like anything else. So it's same thing in like team. If someone's shit talking another person, or I'm coming to you and being like, Fady is such a fucking bad player, behind his back.
No.
It's me just trying to get attention about him
You're
rather
trying to
than
get my reaction to it.
yeah. And
Or my
then you're
attention
gonna
on
now
it.
start. Now you're gonna start hating on Fady, right? Because you're hearing from my perspective. Meanwhile, Reese is just busy chilling, and now you're hating on Fady, and then it's just like a growing thing.
Yeah,
So
and
those
that's
are like the things that South African teams need to focus on if they want to get to a better level. Because even before I was in like Sinister 5 in those teams, I tried to build my own teams, but I still had great synergy with everyone. Like it was insane. Like I would have like terrible people on my team. Like they couldn't aim for shit, but our synergy was just really good, and we
no
just
worked.
became a better team the entire time. Hey
Damn.
Joshy.
You've really. I mean, you're the perfect example to actually listen to these things. So if any of you fuckfaces are sitting there hating right now, I want you to actually listen to what he's saying because MisteM is technically a CSGO baby. Did you play CS Source by chance?
No.
Okay, so you're a
I
CSGO
only played
baby.
CS:GO.
Yeah, so you're a CSGO baby, and I think that is a very important part of this conversation because you grew with CS:GO. You didn't grow with like Source or 1.6. Like a lot of the pros that are still pros today, they pretty much came from Source and everything. And you're a CS:GO baby. You started from the new game and you've built yourself up from the new game. And I have to say, and I cannot believe I'm about to compliment him, but a lot of the things you're saying is something that Zassi, he also mentions it quite a lot. And something he always says that I always 100% agree with is that South Africans, and this is not just CSGO, I'm talking about all esports here. They'll complain about, like I said earlier, not having tournaments and stuff. But they also focus on one thing, and they just want. There's want all the time. Just give me this, give me that, sponsor this, pay me that, whatever. But they're not willing to put in the effort or show from their side that it could be worth it. You know, like they're not willing to put in the work. They just expect everything to be handed them on a platter. And I think that is a big problem that we have in our local scene. And like I said, not just CSGO. This is everything. This is not just CSGO. This is including even those Fortnite fucks, dude. They just want, but they're not willing to. They're just not willing to put in the work.
For sure. I agree.
And the only place you're going to get, or the only way you're going to grow in anything is by working hard. And I mean, there you go. ATK is a good attestation to that because you guys went over with 3 South Africans?
4
South Africans, and now you're the only South African left.
Yep.
Well, Fady is still in, but I mean, he's currently out for a bit, so... It's wild to me, man. It's absolutely wild to me. Your mentality. I have to compliment you on it, Mr. Gary. Like, we've spoken a few times now, Australia, man, and we've had some pretty deep conversations. I've shared with you a lot of things that goes on in my heart. You've shared a lot of things with me that goes on in your heart. And I have to say, from the first time I've interacted with you, you're such a genuine person when it comes to, you know, not only being a straight shooter, but you feel the human, or like you seem human to me. You don't just seem like some grinding gamer nerd that's just sitting behind his PC playing CS all day and just, you know, doing aimbots. You have a lot of passion for what you do, but you're also a person. Like, I know you have a very good connection with your family. And I think if it wasn't for that, I don't think if it wasn't for that, I don't think you would be where you are today if you didn't have a supportive family. And I do think that some people, not just Africa, in the world, they don't all have maybe the supportive parents or people that believe in them. And I once again, I have to commend you, but also like your dad and your mom for like believing in you and letting you do what you feel like you can do. Because you're one of the people, or you're one of the success stories, right? Yep. Because yes, you might not be where you want to be in life, right? Like you obviously, maybe you want to be the next major champion, and you're gonna fucking get there. I can see it I can see it, dude. I'm a fucking psychic right now. I'm gonna say psychiatrist, but I'm a psychic right now. But if it wasn't for them driving you, it wouldn't have gotten you there. And you're just working constantly. I mean, you said now you're like on a set schedule. All that, it's insane to me. So I have to compliment you on that, and just keep doing you. And thank you for always being so nice to me and carrying me in matchmaking, even though you play on 300 ping, and then you're still 30 mom.
You know, it's fun. I enjoy the stuff at moments. That I'm still kind of working playing Counter-Strike, but it doesn't feel like work because I'm having a good time. But I know, like this is actually a topic that I want to speak about, and it's like it might touch like a lot of people because maybe their families aren't as supportive, and like my family wasn't as supportive as like, you know, you make it out to be. Like I was not allowed to play like on my computer during the week at all. I could only play on the weekends. Growing up and stuff like that, up until I was 15, 14 maybe. I was not allowed to play during the week. It was purely on the weekend. I would have, obviously, because at that time I was obviously seeing all these majors going on and stuff like that. I wanted to play, and I had a shit ton of fights with my family, like a lot. There was lots of arguments, there was lots of yelling, there was like stuff going on. So it wasn't all like, you know, rainbows at the end of the day. There was a lot of times in which the thunderstorms came out of nowhere. But I said, okay, I need to change my parents' mentality because arguing with them is not going to work. So I need to start showing them what I want to do, because for a parent, they're not just going to sit there and be like, yeah, go play games, because that's what they're thinking, right? Like they weren't growing up with everything that we are today. So they're just sitting there saying, okay, like, what are you going to do playing sitting on your bum the entire day playing games for 14 hours. What are you bringing into your life that's giving you a satisfaction to setting up your future? So I sat there and I was like, okay, let's see what I can do. First thing is prize money. Nothing brings families more involved than money, obviously, right?
Yep.
The second thing was, how do I show them how passionate I am? So there were these player profiles that Valve used to do on their YouTube channel that used to go in depth about
God, bring them back, Valve, please. Bring them back, dude.
They used to go in depth about what the players used to go through. And my parents, specifically my mom, was touched by Pasha about how he used to work out, how he was family orientated, how he still fitted CS into his life. And they obviously spoke about like what money he was earning and stuff like that. And that was a turning point where like I literally said to my mom and dad, sit on the couch, watch these videos, or watch this video of Pasha. I was playing like a scrim or something. I come back and they had watched all of the player profiles, and they're like, this is what you're doing. What the fuck are you doing? You need to start playing games a lot more. Why'd you tell us this sooner? And then that's how I convince them. So it's more about thinking out the box rather than just sitting there arguing the entire time. So you just got to think, what can I do to convince my parents? And that's what I
show
did.
them.
And on top of that, like my parents have, before I played CS, I was very, very into rugby. I like played nationals and stuff like that. I was very involved. Since the age of 6, I was like, my dad used to play like a lot of rugby, so it was kind of built into my blood that I followed his kind of way.
Yeah.
And they would like take me to all my games. Both of them were there. They would like take videos of my rugby and stuff like that, and I would sit there watching the videos and seeing what I could have done better and stuff. So from a young age, I was like sitting and watching the videos that my parents used to take.
Reviewing
and
your
I was
rugby
just, like,
demos, dude.
pretty much, yeah. And I was always like the guy that wanted to be the leader, so I was like the captain of the team. I was always trying to like get them up and stuff like that. So from a very young age, I was getting that support from my parents. And I know a lot of people aren't, maybe one of them are just have a single mom. But the way that I see it is that if you don't have a dad in your picture and stuff, a lot of the time people would get drawn to the next father figure that they can find. So what they need to do is kind of, the mom at least, or like you need to draw yourself to the best older man figure that you can find and let that guy mentor you into your life, because I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for the way that my dad mentored me.
Okay.
So that's
makes
just the
sense.
way that I see it. And if you're like, growing up with like a dad that's very abusive or something like that, you are going to build onto those habits and kind of grow into that person. Maybe not right now, but probably later on.
Yeah,
But
you
if
might
you're
not notice it now.
But if you're like, let's just say it's your mom's brother, and he's a very family-oriented guy, he's the guy that's always, doing the barbecues, always the guy that's around, that's who you're going to get drawn to. So that's just like how things need to be.
Wow.
But
I never thought about it that way.
yeah.
That's actually very well said.
yeah, that's how I would say you just got to look at it like that.
Just getting spammed on Steam for some reason. That is that I never thought about it that way. That's you actually.
Barbecues are bri.
Yeah, just a nice little barbecue, man. We're all gonna have a nice little barbecue in Canada. You definitely have to do a few barbecues with people there. I just want to
For sure.
apologies. I just need to close my Steam real quick because someone is being spammy on Steam. I apologize. We're back. That's pretty. That's the way. So again, the way you're saying it, the way you're like explaining everything to me, I think is. Again, this comes back to I think your mentality is in such a good place right now, and you said it yourself. The moment you went overseas, the first thing you like realized is that this is a mental game, and I think one of the biggest things, not only as a CS:GO player but as a human, is as you get older, you get more mature. But like fighting the demons in your head, essentially, you really have to have a strong mentality in today's fucking. Life, not even just in the pro scene. So that makes me think, like, as a CSGO pro as well, like you said earlier, you have these Russian betters messaging you after, and I think if you don't have a good mentality, how the fuck do you expect to perform all the time? Because what's going to happen the moment you load into the server after maybe a lose or a loss, and you had someone who shat on you in your DMs or like called you out for being a bad aim, it might not affect you in the moment, but it's going to affect you in the long run. So I think mentality is such an important part of not just life, but also being a pro player. And you have now taken a lot of steps this year, well, not this year, but like your plan going forward. Not that I'm saying you had a bad mental, but you made the decision out of yourself, being like, I'm going to this year focus on a lot more, like you said, routine, exercising, and sticking to it. Would you ever say there was a point in your life, especially when you went overseas for the first time, was there a point where your mental was bad? Or have you always been pretty strong mentally? And what did you do to change it? Or was there like a penny drop moment where you were like, I need to change this and this and this? Because the reason I'm asking you this is, God, dude, this is pretty much the sucking Zassy's dick show. You're saying like, drawn to a mentor. So as much as me and Zassy hate each other, I'm actually I look up to him a lot. He's quite literally my mentor. If it wasn't for him, I honestly probably would have killed myself at this point, because no one's been as motivating and also as fucking deprecating as much as he is. But I look up to him. Like if I ever need advice on anything adult, I don't ask my dad. I don't ask my dad because my dad's a cop. What the fuck does he know about what I'm doing, right? Same with my mom. I don't go ask my mom because my mom's old and they don't do tech. I don't ask my stepdad or anything like that. I go ask him. And he's only like 29 years older than me, because Zassy's like 700 years old. But I still look up to him as a mentor. And I think that has also changed my mentality, and also my mental a bit. I won't say I have a strong mental. Not always. I don't always have a strong mental. But I try my best to do to have a strong mental. So swinging whole back around to it, like I'll ask you, like, was there ever a point where you had a bad mental, or you were like in a really bad spot mentally, and then what the fuck? How do you just get out of it? What advice would you give someone that feels like they might be in a slump or in a pit or in a situation where they, and this is not just for Counter-Strike. You can use Counter-Strike obviously as an example, but just as a human, what would you say?
I think the whole Zassy situation, I think that was like the person that you found that was like not really a father figure for you, but someone that kind of it was someone that was relatable to a lot of like your problems in your life. So it was just someone that would like listen to you when you needed to be heard. And one of the things that like I just want to touch on that not a lot of people do is that people would, rather than just listen to someone, one of the biggest things that I've learned and heard is that in order to help someone that's in dear help, rather than giving them advice, they just need to be heard. And I'll talk about a little thing that I learned, and it's called like an emotional breath. And the way that happens is that, like, let's say you're talking about how badly your day was, right? I just sit there and you're telling me how bad your day is, and imagine if you're like, yeah, I just had like a really, really stressful day. My dog just died and stuff like that. And then I'm just like, it's okay, just take it one step at a time. And then I'm just like giving you advice from the get-go, right? You're not really getting the satisfaction of breathing. And then imagine if you're like, yeah, my dog just died and stuff, and I'm having a really bad day, and I'm like, yeah, tell me more. And you're like, you know what? Like, it's really, really frustrating to just kind of sit there and not really do anything. Like, I just feel like I've lost people. I'm like, yeah, like, what else? And you're like, you know what? Like, my streams haven't been going well, and you just get everything out. And I'm just in there like, yeah, I agree. And if you need advice, you'll be like, okay, so what do you think I should do? You tell me if you need advice, right?
No.
I'm not going to ask for you. I'm just going to sit there and be like, yeah, tell me more. What else?
But listening can go a long way.
Is there anything I can do? And that's been one of the biggest things that's helped me with my mentality is, instead of going to my parents the entire time, because I know they would always give me advice, the thing is when you're so close with your parents, they're always going to take your side. And sometimes you don't want to go to advice for them because you want to hear something that you don't want to hear.
No, you get an outsider's perspective.
So the two people that have been doing that for me and my team was Swisher and Fady. They are the two people that I would go to about any problems, whether it's CS related, relationship related, life related, whatever. I would just speak to them. Reese was the best listener, and Swisher was the best advice giver out of the two people. So if I ever needed advice, Swisher's got my back. If I ever needed someone to just listen to, Reese had my back. But in terms of me having a bad mentality, it happened a lot. There were times in which I would just sit in the bath and cry. There were times like that because I missed home. We were losing. We had roster changes. I wasn't playing good individually. People were leaving the team, and I sat there and I'm someone that takes a lot of stuff in, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe if I leave this team and they get a new IGL, maybe things are gonna work. And I would sit there with those thoughts the entire time, and I was just like, what do I do? So I went to my dad, and one of the things that he said that stuck with me is remember where you came from. And I sat there and I was like, okay, I was a 12, 13-year-old kid that was getting bullied about being a cheater and all this other stuff. Look at where I am now. I am overseas. Every other South African or anyone else would want to be in my situation. I can't take this for granted. I'm in literally my dream that I wanted for a very long time. I can't just sit here and think about anyone else. I need
No.
to sit here with myself and sort out my own thoughts. In terms of advice for a bad mentality is find someone that can give you that emotional breath. There
Someone you
there
can
is
talk to.
someone that would want to speak to you and listen to you, and there's someone that wants to do that. Even if you want to speak to me, even if you want to hit me with like a DM and stuff, if you're going through something, I will be here. Like, I will answer it when I can, or I'll even like, Discord phone you or whatever, or call you. I will be there to like help you. But when it comes to mentality, a lot of the time you're in your own head, so you want to draw yourself from whatever like temptation happens. If it's like, um let's just say I was always in the house in Mexico. I was upset. I did not want to be there. What did I do? I went to Canada. I went to a place that would make me feel better. So if you're always in a place where like you're most upset when you're sitting home alone, go out to a bar, go get a drink or something, even go for a drive, just something that's going to withdraw you from the temptation of going into your own thoughts. You know what I mean? So a lot of the time you're starting off with all the sadness and upset mentality, and then you're going into overthinking.
Yeah,
And the
because
way that
you're
you remove
stuck in the
yourself from
same.
over
You're stuck in the same bubble because, like you said, you can't go anywhere. Yeah.
so
Sorry for laughing
the
because it just sounds like Zazie is playing a mixtape because everything you said is stuff that I've heard before. Because I'm genuinely asking you because I would love to learn from you. Because I'm someone who I get into my own head a
what
lot of the times. A lot of the times. And that's why I don't have a way of dealing with it yet, right? Because it used to be like messaging friends, but I don't have friends. Like I don't have. Okay, when I say friends, I mean I don't have. I don't have someone I can just go to real quick. Like no one lives in Somerset West. Everyone lives in Cape Town or fucking Joburg, right? Like I don't have that quote unquote support system. So I'm working, but I made the change of like working on my confidence and stuff like that to to lose weight and like to go out more and stuff like that, and that has helped me tremendously. I'm in a mentally I'm probably in the best place I've ever been in my life that I can remember.
Yeah, good.
It still sucks dick down here. I'm not gonna lie, but I know if I keep working on myself and working on my how can I say, working on who I am and my mentality and my physical health and stuff like that, I know that in a year I could be in a completely different place, right?
I think, uh, even though I'm the same, I don't really have friends, obviously, because like, yeah, I'm overseas and whatever. Like, I'm with my teammates, but even when I go back home, like, I'm not hanging out with like people. Like, I would hang out with like people that I played CS with and stuff like that, but it's not someone that I chat to on a day-to-day basis, or would watch all my games and stuff like that. So I realized, I needed to remove all the distractions, because like in last year I had like a lot of distractions that weren't really benefiting my life, that made me stop working as hard as I wanted to. So, for example, like, I had people in my life that I needed to cut off. There were people that I stopped messaging first, and I realized they wouldn't message me back. There
Oh,
were
dude,
people
that is the best
and stuff like
always.
that.
I love that
And
when you always see that fucking cringy stupid TikTok or like or Instagram reel or someone is like, oh, don't message them, they'll never message you, and you're like, oh, whatever's this. And until you do it one day, till you
it's
stop
true.
messaging people, you will see how there's either maybe one person in your life that genuinely cares or checks up on you. And as a streamer,
There's
I feel that a lot because when you're live, there's always someone talking, right? There's always someone
Yep.
checking, interacting. But the moment you're not live, dude, nobody gives a fuck about me. Nobody cares.
Yep.
There's no messages coming through. No one's checking up. Hey, are you okay? Stuff like that. So that I took that advice at an earlier stage in my life where I just stopped messaging people, and you see like nobody messages you first. If you don't message first, they're not going to message you.
That's very true. I think two things that I learned is, if you're cutting people off of your life, make sure that they know what they're missing. So my kind of another source of motivation that I'll use is I cut people off from my life, but they need to know what they're missing. So like now I just qualified for Pro League. You could have like been a good friend to me or something like that, but now you're not going to have me anymore. Like I'm gone. You need to
No.
realize what you missed, type thing. And then the other thing is it's me versus me, or you versus you. That's the way that I see it. It's not me versus another team. It's me versus me. I look at myself in the mirror. What can I do better every single day? So it's just a day-to-day thing, and a lot of people don't even have, like, as you were saying, like, people might just sit at home and play games and stuff like that, and maybe they don't want to go outside, but you have an opportunity to speak to people over a Discord or anything like that, you know, hit up people. Just if you need that emotional breath, there's a lot of people that, like, you think that you might not need to message, but you message them and they could be like the best of people ever.
The best person to give you advice as well.
And the only way to, like, if you, a lot of this can also drift into a different direction of, like, what happens if you have no motivation, you have no direction in life. A lot of people would sit there and they're like, okay, like I am, you know, I don't know, 26, 27, I don't know what I want to do in my life. Use your 20s as a time of risk. A lot of people think that they need to have their life sorted out when they're 20.
Times have changed a lot.
You just got to realize if I know that some parents on you know you're getting kicked out by the age of 18, but there is nothing that is better for you than being kicked out when you're 18 and looking for that independence. There's so many people that are focused on their comfort zones, so that's why they're not growing to a direction in their life.
Sometimes you have to do something outside your comfort zone, because you'll be surprised how much that teaches you.
Yeah, there was nothing that was better for me than to go overseas. And you know, when I was 18, I came overseas, and I'm in a completely different situation. My mentality is completely different. You know, I'm learning from Bowden on how to cook. I'm learning, you know, mechanic and engineering stuff from Swisher. He's very good at, like, fixing stuff. So I'm learning these things that I've never learned before, but it's super interesting because it's removing me from my work. You know, it's removing me from CS. I'm completely doing something different, and stuff like that. So independency gets you a very long way, and if you don't have a situation where you can leave your comfort zone, the only other thing that you can do is have a mentor. Have someone that's going to push you. Have someone that's going to give you the advice in anything that you want to do. And that person for me was like Blame F. Like I speak to this guy on a day-to-day basis, and we literally would, like, message each other. I would ask him about mentality. I would ask him about, like, what he's doing to, like, you know, fitness as well, because he's obviously a big dude, you know, and I have his eating plan. I have, like, what is he doing when he's working out. So it's just, that's the person that I look up to. It's the person I speak to every single day on how I can better myself, and people can do the exact same thing in whatever job that they're doing.
No. I mean, I have to agree with you about the whole comfort zone thing, because when I was 18, so my dad's a cop, so that he's very military. So when I turned 18, he was like, all right, that's it. No, I wasn't even going to get my December holiday. Like, everyone's going to fucking Plate Rage or whatever the fuck. My dad was like, no, you're getting a job the day you write your last exam. So I begged my dad, and I was like, hey, can I please just get my holiday? And I remember him telling me, okay, so on the 2nd of February, you will have a job. And then in my mind, I was like, he's going to fucking forget, dude. The 6th of February, 6 a.m. before he went to work, he knocked on my door and he's like, all right, go get your job. And I pretty much immediately got my own place. I was put completely out of my comfort zone. And that helped me. That helped me in that way. Like, to independence is such a free feeling. Like, there's nothing that sucks more dick than having to ask your parents for money. Now, that's just one little example. There's nothing that feels worse than asking your parents for money if you've already been independent for a while. Yes, sometimes you got to do it. That's life. That's why we have our parents, because 99.99999% of the time, your parents are not going to say no. Not gonna say no.
Yep.
But as an adult, it sucks, because you don't want to be that person to ask them for money, because it's just, you're not a kid anymore, right? You have to, like, do your own thing. And getting outside of your comfort zone and not focusing on just your comfort zone is such a good example that you used. I'm gonna use myself as an example of something that I did personally this year, which is I got to go to the ATK Girl Gamer Fest. I remember getting that DM from Meghead, and I was like, there's no fucking chance. You think I'm gonna leave the house? Are you crazy, bro? And then I left. I didn't reply. I read it and I didn't reply. And then I waited a bit. Now, like, this was just when I started my weight loss thing. So I was about, like, I want to say like 20 or 25 kgs down or whatever. I was like, you know what, dude, fuck it. Why not? Why not? Because the odds of me going there again, the odds of me going there again and being smaller, maybe someone will notice it, dude, right? And then I did that. And then the Comic-Con talk started happening. And then everyone was like, oh, you should go to Comic-Con. I was like, I'm not going to Comic-Con. How the fuck am I going to get there? And then more people were like, dude, just go. And I felt more confident and I felt more willing to want to go. And the next thing you know, we're booking a flight in the central of fucking Joburg, almost getting murdered on a fucking on a Saturday. And I went to Comic-Con. It was one of the best fucking times of my life. Now, last year, one of the ATK socials, I think it was October, whatever, they literally messaged me. I replied the same second. I was like, yeah, I'm there. They were like, hey, can you please come through to the event? We would love to have you. I was like, yes, I'm there. I'm there. Don't even. And that just shows how much my confidence has changed in myself, because I was also, once again, I pushed myself this time out of the comfort zone. Because if I didn't do that, I am pretty sure I would have just been home. You know, I would have just been at home and not going to any of those events. And I'm so happy that I did go to those events, because now there's all these other events. And now this year, my focus is to be at more events. But I want to be like I want to be this South African CSGO guy, dude. Like, I feel like I stream enough to already be this South African CS. I get the South African flom because I'm casual. Yep. I'm not good at all. I take fucking bullying from my chat 99% of the time of how bad I am. And that's fine, because I know I'm bad. But I can still be a voice kind of for the CSGO in our country, because I like, for example, I like casting the games. I like talking to the players, stuff like that, you know? So my focus this year, which is once again completely out of my comfort zone, is to be more involved with events, be it paid or not paid. The money is a completely different thing. But also just to work on myself. And that's my advice to anyone: just work harder on yourself.
Do you think working out and losing weight may give you a bit more confidence to
100%
get you out of your comfort zone?
Oh yeah. So the first time I noticed, so I remember, and I've told this story multiple times, but I don't think I've told you. So there's a guy in my chat called Corporal Langslang. He is probably the #1 hate watcher that I have. He's a mod for some fucking reason. He doesn't do anything ever, but and he pretty much just always shits on me. That's all he does. But about 2 weeks into my weight loss, I lost like 15 kilograms or whatever the fuck. And I was live and I was like, I don't get this, dude. Like, I've now lost this weight, but I don't see a difference. I don't feel a difference. And then he said something that stuck by me till today, and I still think about it every time. He's like, don't compare the results of 2 weeks. Compare the results of a year. So think about this moment in a year. And I was like, damn, that actually kind of makes sense. So I was like, you know what, dude, it's a year of my life. Fuck it. Let me just do it. Let me just continue. I'm not suffering or anything. It's not like I'm struggling or anything. Let me just continue it. And then, you know, small things I started noticing. I first did like the exercise streams, which was great, but then I had like severe headaches. And then I again spoke to my Twitch chat, because they're basically like the thing, I'm just live 99% of the time. And they're like, are you getting any sunlight? And I'm like, no. And they're like, dude, you need to get some sunlight. So now instead of just doing weights, I also go walk every morning. And that made a big change in my day, because I just want to feel refreshed. I just want to feel refreshed when I come back home. And then, you know, the small thing, the day that I noticed that there's definitely some big change, aside from the fact that my clothes started looking like fucking gordijnen on me, is the way my bathroom is. When you open my shower door, it goes against the wall pretty much. So I remember I used to have to keep the bathroom door open the shower door, walk outside of my bathroom, then get into the shower, close the outside door, and then the shower door, because I didn't fit. It couldn't get past me. I was just too fat. Then about like, I want to say probably like 6 months in or whatever, it was completely, I wasn't planned or anything. I just got into the shower, and then I remember I was washing. I was like, wait, the door's closed. Did I just shower with the door closed for the first time like ever? And that was like a moment for me, because I was like, hell yeah, dude, I got into the shower without having to worry about making this whole fucking loop-de-loop getting into a car. Getting into the shower. And yeah, it was as I say, same as the car, dude. I got into my car one day and I was like, holy fucking shit, there's so much space, so much room for activities. The seatbelt just slipped on. It's just moments, small little things, and those boost the confidence. That very much boosts my confidence. And that helped me, once again, get out of my comfort zone a bit as well. Like, I went to Zassy's birthday party, I went to another braai, I went to like a few other friends' events, stuff that I would legitimately never do. And That's all attests to working on myself. Like no one could have done that for me. No one could have given that to me. No one is going to. How do I say this? And this is for everyone. No one can make a decision for you. You have to make the decision. But when you make the decision, you have to make sure that you stick with it. Because the most important place to make the decision is here. Saying it is one thing. There's been a lot of times in my life where I've been like, all right, dude, you're a fat fuck. Come on, let's change this. And there's been a lot of times where I've lost like 10, 15, 20 kilograms. That's happened throughout my life, like even through high school and stuff. In high school, I looked great. I feel like I looked so good. I was wearing like, double XL shirts and stuff. And then I became an adult and everything just fucking went crazy. And I never made a decision in a year. And then this year when I went, or the last year when I went full time, I made the decision not only for myself, but I made it in a year, but I made the decision on my own. No one was like, you should try this or do that. I did it on my own. I did it on my own, out of my own. And now everything is better, I guess. Well, touch wood.
That's good.
Still have
that's really good.
Another year to really, really push myself. And I don't want it to be just a thing to lose weight. It's a lifestyle now. And I feel like after a year, I can definitely say it's a good lifestyle to have.
Yeah, I think that's what I learned from working out as well. It's not necessarily the destination that's the fun part. It's the journey that you're going through. It's those small little victories, as you said.
No.
Like when I was on the verge of reaching like what I wanted to have with like my body fat percentage and everything like that, it was I hit it, but I looked at what I used to look like to what I look now, and it's completely different. And now was like, that's what I enjoyed, was that entire time. And it's the small victories even throughout the day, like, making your bed, or, I have like small little victories that I do. That's part of my routine, something that makes me feel good every single day. It's like my workout, and then I'm making my bed, going for a walk. That's 3 victories that I would never have done in Mexico.
Something you couldn't have done, but now you have the opportunity. So
it's like, sometimes I don't really feel like working out, but it's like a lifestyle. You have to do it. It's part of the routine.
It needs to become part of the routine. Exactly. I had a bit of a life-changing moment in December, in the start of the year, because I didn't have a December. I didn't really go out and buy any new clothes, regardless of all the weight loss. Now, losing 100 kilograms. Well, sorry, let me just make sure I say this right. Almost 100 kilograms. Your clothes really do start hanging, right? And it didn't bother me, but it looks slordig, I guess, if that's the right word. It looks. I just look like a mess. And then I got there, and I bought my family like Christmas presents and stuff. And then my dad bought me a shirt. My dad bought me a shirt that is 5 sizes smaller than what I used to wear. And I was like, why the fuck did you buy me? I'm not going to be able to wear it. And he's like, no, use it as motivation. So I take out the shirt and I look, I'm like, this looks like it might actually fit. And I go put it on, dude. And bro, you have to know, putting on a shirt that's 5 sizes smaller than what you usually, and it actually fits you, bro. That was some good feels right there. I even made a video about it because it just felt so good. I had to like share it with the world, and it comes down to the fact that I made the decision for myself. No one else made the decision for me or told me to do it. I just made the decision for myself. So now this year is again, just keep on, like you said, with the lifestyle. It's a lifestyle change that's working. Why the fuck would you want to destroy that?
Thanks. 100%.
This has been absolutely amazing. I have 2 things I want to ask you. I've got these little end of podcast questions that I'd like to ask. And the first one is a new one because I didn't use it on Bumflusky last week. But I want to ask you this. When people look at you, what do you think they see? It's a deep one. It's a deep one.
Jeez.
Yeah, it is. It's a deep one.
Honestly, I don't even know how to answer that. I would just say like a lot of people just see me as like inspiration. Someone that wants to. I'm like an inspiration for other people that want to get where I am. When it's strangers, I'll say a handsome dude at least. Really. Like, I gotta.
Hell yeah, bro.
I don't know.
There it is.
I think if it's people that know me and stuff, then an inspiration. But if it's people that don't, then I just would want them to see me as like a gentleman. Like that's the way that I treat like the people around me, as I would open the door for them and stuff like that, and I like treat them with respect. So hopefully that's what like they see.
Okay, that's a good answer. Very good answer.
What about you? I'm reversing the
Oh
question.
no, fuck! I didn't prepare for this. Well, I see. There's two parts of this question. I think as somebody who sees me that knows me, they might just see me as someone who's trying. He's trying really hard at life to make it better for other people. Because not a lot of people see this of me, or I don't think people always see it, but I really do try go out of my way to make things better for everyone else. I rather let someone else be happy and then I'll be sad. Like that's fine with me. Like I've talked to like you talk like to girls that you're like fucking dreaming of like just having to be able to take them on a date, and then they tell you like, oh yeah, me and my boyfriend just broke up, and then you're like, I could be the guy that's like, yeah, I don't really want to talk about your boyfriend, but what do? I'm like, do you want to talk about it? Do you have to like get something out? I'm that guy, and it's not just girls. Like, that's a very specific example.
Context.
Yeah, but with anyone, if someone's going through something, I'm always I like you said earlier, like give people the chance to explain. I'm always the one that's like, would you like to talk about it? Do you want to get it out? And it always works because then they'll tell you no, but then anyway talk about it, or they'll just immediately tell you about exactly what's going on. But people that don't know me, they probably just see some obese fat fuck not looking after himself, and that's one of the things I really want to change, or that's one of the things I'm working on changing. I think that's
somewhere down the line, that's gonna change for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's gonna happen.
There's this old woman that I walk past every morning, literally every morning, and like it hasn't happened in a while, but I used to walk past them all the time. And I remember, like, I think like 5 months into, my whole change, because I walked past me, he stopped me one morning. He's like, "Man, you're looking so good, man. Keep on doing it." And that felt really, really good. That's also another a good motivator. Yeah. But yeah, that's fuck. Don't ever ask that question again. Then lastly, do you have any ghost stories? Or something that you maybe experienced? You can say no, it's fine. That's just the way I'm ending it from now on.
Ghost stories. Ooh.
Or something that you experienced that was like fucked. Or like you were like, what the hell?
When I was younger, for sure. I was like, I had bunk beds. So I was like lying in the bottom bunk bed and the door was like slightly open. I must have been 4 maybe. And I kid you not, I could see through the little keyhole, like you got the keyhole and you can see through it. I was lying in my bed and I had like the perfect thing. I could see through the keyhole and I saw these red eyes, bro. I was looking through the keyhole and I saw these red eyes. And instead of running away from it, I ran like towards it because I had to run towards it to get to my parents. And I bolted for my parents. I flipped and ran, and then I was like, nah, I saw. Even to this day, I was like, I don't know what I saw. Like it was crazy. I just saw like these red eyes. And I was like, I'm going to my parents.
That's a good one.
Not happening.
That's pretty fucking. That's insane. Well, I mean, at least you had some experience. So maybe it's your cat or your dog. Josh is a good question. Maybe it's your cat or your dog. But how the fuck is the cat or the dog going to get to the keyhole, Josh? Jesus Christ! Think about these things.
I have little wiener. I have like little wiener dogs or sausage dogs. I don't think they're going to be able to get us to the key.
There we go. Not through there.
Unless my mom was pulling a prank and she just did it and then ran through her bed real quick and then it was like, get trolled, kid.
All right, I'm going to swap it over to you, Chad. If you guys have any last questions, please do throw them out now, and then we'll call it out this side. MisteM has been absolutely the best. MisteM, soft yolk or hard yolk?
Soft.
Disgusting. Cease.
Soft.
Hard yolk's where it's at. Why the fuck would you want to eat like baby fucking bird sperm, dude? No. I hate soft yolk, dude. It's disgusting. I hate it. I hate it.
I'm a man of Eggs Benedict, bro.
Eggs Benedict's good, but they can still make it a hot yolk.
Nah. Pineapple pizza, yes.
Yeah, people only hate pineapple on pizza because the internet doesn't like it. It's making a stupid thing of it. It's like people who hate Nickelback. Everyone likes it.
What you should do for your podcast, which is something that I saw on another podcast that I thought was pretty cool, is when you do like another guest, you ask like that guest to leave a question for the next guest. So you would like ask me a question, and then I have to ask the next. Or like he has to answer the question that I asked, and that was like pretty cool.
That is good. Okay, all right. Well, give me one then, because I have my phone open with me, and I have like all your notes written down of things that I want to talk to you about. So do you have a question for me? Because the stuff that I had here for you is, what do you think people blah blah blah, and then I had the questions about the money, and then your whole story about how to get to where you are currently. So now I want I need you to give me that question. You've now made this idea, so.
What gives you motivation to life?
What gives you motivation to life? I love that. But do I have to answer it now? I don't have to, right?
No.
Okay, thank fuck. Okay, cool. I got it. Thank you. Is it still possible to make it as a South African gamer overseas like you in today's life?
Yeah, it always is. I don't think that possibility will ever like not happen. If you just have the mindset to do it, you can.
We pretty much had a whole conversation about it right now, Scorpion. So if you want, right after this, you can go watch the VOD. I will also be uploading this to YouTube. You guys can go watch it afterwards. MisteM, you've been an absolute great guest. And I really, really appreciate your time and effort for making time for me. I know that our time zones are like, what, 10-hour difference? 9-hour difference?
Yeah, it's 11 a.m. for me now.
Yeah, so yeah, 9 a.m. for me, so it's a good 9 hours. 9 or 10 hours, either one. I think 10 hours. Yeah, 10 hours. You have the best day. Thank you very much, everyone on Twitch who has tuned in and watched the stream. Thank you for all the questions and all the awesomeness. If you guys want MisteM, can you please just shout out all your socials where people can find you? Yeah, the red carpet is yours. Yeah.
What other questions are? Andrew Tate over Jordan Peterson for sure. Who set up its Bowden's? Man's sleeping right now. Hopefully he doesn't come out in his underwear, because he always does.
That'd be kind of hot.
So, yeah. So far, doors closed still, so we're chilling. Must be amazing being overseas. Yeah, no, it is. I'm really happy where I am. And I appreciate everyone that's been there for me through the hard times. I appreciate all the support. Every single guy send me a DM or anything like that, I'm always reading it. I'm replying or anything like that. So, yeah, if you guys need anyone to chat to, if you guys need any CS advice, don't be afraid to hit me up on Twitter. You can find that at MisteM TV. And all of my other socials are linked in the description there that you guys can just find. But other than that, I had a great time. I love doing podcasts. It's great to just share my ideas. And much love, guys. If we have any Oilers in chat, make sure that you guys give some subs.
Huge.
Always great. But yeah, I had a great time.
Thank you very much, man, for coming on. Thank you so much, Twitch chat. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in, all the questions. Remember to go check out the homie. I did give him a shout out. The link is also being spammed in chat. Go give him a follow, give him some love, follow him on Twitter, get him everywhere. Thank you to everyone for watching as always. And thank you for being here. Remember, take care of yourself, take care of your friends, take care of your family. And don't forget to check up on your friends. Have a good day. Stay safe, everyone. Love you. Bye.